Hello everybody, and welcome to our CCA Triple Header here on SplatoonTourney. My name is Falco, and I'm joined here by Saf and Toma. Saf, how are you doing tonight?
Oh my gosh, Falco, I'm doing so good. Got to do some commentating for Low Ink earlier today, which was an absolute blast, and now I get to be here with my two besties side by side with me for CTA matches today. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be 3 amazing matches. Toma, are you ready? Are you excited for tonight?
Oh, I'm so ready. I'm so glad to be here on mic with the two of you tonight. It's been a long time, and it's so great to be back.
It's going to be amazing. Hey, we're going to be starting off with VCU Ink Black versus UCF Kraken Squids, 2 Division 1 teams, and we'll start with VCU Ink Black. So, Toma, how did they do during their Week 1 match?
Yeah, during their Week 1 match, they were up against UCSD Esports Gold, and they actually fell there 1-4 in that set.
And Saf, looking at their opponents, UCF Kraken Squids, how did they fare in their first 2 weeks?
Well, it looks like in Week 1, not super great, going 0-4 against UCSD Esports Gold, and Week 2 going 1-4 with Husky Splatsville Knights. So definitely looking to do a little bit better here this week, probably keeping their heads up for this week.
Yeah, and I mean, both of these teams, I know we have seen them both in our competitive worlds. You know, Toma and I, we saw them in Ludi. You actually got to face VCU Ink Black, so tell us a little more about that team from what you recall.
Yeah, so they were in my group for Ludi Div 8 playoffs this season. They were undefeated in the group. It was the final week of our Ludi matches. It was actually a Transients versus Ink Black for the undefeated winner, and they took that. Even though you've got some great players on there, they ended up going, I think, 2 weeks into playoffs. They've got some great players on their side. They've got their captain Novadin, who's just such a versatile player, plays a lot of different weapons. Mini on their back line, who's always holding it down, and you see players like Wyatt, Toto, who can just kind of go in, get some crazy kills, make some crazy plays. I'm really excited to see what they're going to bring out here tonight.
It's going to be really cool to see. And again, Saf, their opponents, UCF Kraken Squids, they are actually 2 teams that are from University of Central Florida who are Division 1. So this is a powerhouse state that we have here for Florida and for all of our CCA. What can you tell us a little bit about the comps from some of these players?
So what we're kind of looking at here, there's definitely that ZNF charger coming out from Ollie. There is some 96 gameplay coming out here, which I absolutely love. I love seeing the 9.6 make its way into competitive, especially with the Kraken being introduced with it as well. And we're seeing a lot of like roller action, seeing Flingza and the vanilla/Kraken roller. So you always love to see that as well. I definitely am interested to see what kind of comp they're going to try to put together.
It's going to be really cool to see. And let's take a look at the maps and modes that we'll be playing tonight. Again, this is it's a best of 7. Traditionally, we have seen teams play all 7, kind of whatever they want. If they want to keep playing it out, we kind of let them do that, especially because they have that hour time slot to do so. But our players are getting situated in the lobby, so I'll be officially tossing this one back to you guys. So, Toma, walk us through these maps a little bit.
Yeah, so we're going to be starting off on Rainmaker and Brine Water Springs. And boy, this map is a little bit of a doozy. You've kind of got this really long straightaway after the first checkpoint, and it can be a rough ride on defense sometimes. If you get control of this ramp, you can push it up, and it can be a really, really fast game. Of course, Brine Water, one of the shorter maps too. You've got this ZNF charger, you've got a leader that could come out on either side that can kind of reach across the whole map and be quite a threat here. What do you want to see? Maybe how can streams prevent that, Sap? What do you want to see come out as the counter picks? What kind of play do you want to see out of both of these teams?
So I would really like to see some utilization of some Kraken happening here, and especially with Rainmaker being able to kind of guide the Rainmaker up to these pedestals and checkpoints, and being able to take some crucial space with it as well. I have to say, with watching top 32 in Low Ink today, there was hardly any Kraken gameplay, but so much Crab gameplay. So I'm interested to see us maybe flip the switch here tonight and get in some Kraken gameplay and have that special be heavily utilized here. And I'm also interested in some of this vanilla splash that I'm seeing, and especially on the side of Kraken Squids. I'm seeing at least one vanilla splash user coming in here. Oh, I guess I actually meant the Splash Neo, but I guess it's fine if Crab comes back in as well. We'll take it. We'll take it. But I'd also like to see some Flingza gameplay as well. I think having another regular Splat roller coming back into the mix and having 2 kits for that and only having 1 Flingza roller, you're kind of seeing Flingza maybe struggle a little bit for the limelight nowadays because you have so much coming out from the Vanilla roller and Crack-On roller as well. So I'd be interested to see some missiles and maybe some chumping as well. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to find out.
It'll definitely be interesting, and I know I see a Crack-On roller on both sides of this roster too, which also would give us, more of that Kraken gameplay that we could potentially see. We're going to be hoping to see more of that. Like you said, we didn't really see a whole lot of it in Low Ink. We maybe saw a little bit of it coming in to what happened on Grand Finals with the Secret Elixir versus Splat-A-Lot Eye matchup. You saw Twig coming out with that Kraken roller a lot. Near and dear to my heart, Twig, a member of my team as well. And that would be a great opportunity to see some of that gameplay coming out with that Kraken roller or 96. But also, we have a raid on our stream right now for the CCA. We're going to be getting into these matches here very shortly. Welcome, Raiders. We have a great matchup here versus VCU Ink Black and UCF Kraken Squids, going to be starting here on Rainmaker Brine Springs here very shortly.
Yeah, we're super excited to have you guys come on in and join us this evening for these CCA matchups. Toma, one thing that really just stands out to me with this league is I love that this is a college league. I mean, you get into esports and there's all these different tournaments and things. We could talk about Valorant, we could look at Overwatch, we could look at all of these other games, but then just knowing that there is a Splatoon esports college league in our midst and that there's so many colleges participating as well, and we're in week 3 of it. I mean, that's just fantastic. It's like our own version of March Madness,
It's crazy. It's something I wish that I had at my school whenever I was in college. I graduated back in 2019, and maybe we had an esports team. I didn't know about it. We definitely didn't have a Splatoon team, and I think it would have been something so cool to be involved in. And I'm so glad that now, the CCA is giving these opportunities for these teams to find a chance to play each other, contact each other, and grow and evolve as players. Help them set up teams at their own universities. It's a really great way to get connected in the community.
Yeah, I completely agree with you here. And going back to these maps here and talking about Brinewater Springs on Rainmaker. Now, I'm not sure if the utilization of a backline here on this mode specifically is usually the right call. To me, especially with the pathways being so linear and really having only one way to break in and try to maintain some space for yourself, it doesn't seem like a backline is usually the right call here. But correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm kind of curious on what your thoughts would be on that.
It can be kind of hit or miss. I think it really depends on how the other team runs. If you have a back line on each side, the battle there can make a difference. And I think especially with the introduction now of the ZNF Splat Charger that has access to those tri-strikes, I think it's more viable of a pick. And E-Leaders still can reach across the entire map. It's not something to be doubted, but it can be moved if you can get up underneath that ledge. If you've got a slosher, you've got a blaster that can poke up on it, your charger can become dead weight. But if it's protected, if you've got your team working together, I still think it can be a benefit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I feel that I can agree with that, and I suppose you're right. Having the ZNF charger being introduced into this meta, you're starting to kind of see it be a poster child, if you will, for the splatter scope charger saga that is introduced into this game right now, and just being able to have that tri-strike on there is so crucial and really allows for so much more aggression from something that is traditionally kind of further, stays further back. I mean, it gives the definition of backline, right? Somebody that doesn't really push up super far and will only do as their teammates will allow and as the game will actually allow. So I'm curious to see if that is going to be an option here, just especially because most people I feel aren't really focusing a lot of their attention up onto that upper ramp area. It's such like a big fight for mid in order to get some space and try to successfully push forward, if you will, to get to where you want to be. So I'm really curious if we're going to see this as well. And I do have to say, on the side of VCU Ink Black, we have Toto Star, and in their weapon roster, I see an L3 and an Undercover Brella. And would I like to know more about that? Yes, I would.
Yeah, Toto's got an interesting weapon pool for sure. It's Splattershot Nova in there as well, not something that we see a lot of in the higher division gameplay. So that's an interesting pick that could come out there as well. I think Toto is just a really great kind of flexible member of their team. You know, they got T-Tech, Blaster, Undercover, Nova, L3. That's a lot of options that they can work with, a lot of different specials and play styles that Ink Black can kind of use. They can see, oh, if Kraken Squids does this, we can respond with something that's going to counter it better. And it lends a little bit more flexibility to their comps, and it can definitely be a potential benefit for them here.
Mm-hmm. And one other thing to note too, like you said earlier, Ink Black, VCU Ink Black was in Division 8 for this year's this Ludi season that recently ended. But on the flip side of that, UCF Kraken Squids were actually in Division 6, and they were able to make playoffs with 4-1 in their group stage. So a little bit of a higher division coming out from Kraken Squids, but nonetheless, I think it's going to be a really fair and fun matchup that we have going on today. And here we are, coming on down to Brine Water Spring. There's that ZNF Charger that's going to make its way out here. And you actually also have the E-Leader as well. So, I was wrong. I was wrong. We are going to have both of these Charger players coming out to fight here on this Rainmaker stage. And you also actually have that vanilla splatter shot coming out in the hands of Wyatt here on Ink Black. So that's also an interesting pick as well, being able to have the Trizuka.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't want to say it too confidently, but I do know Ink Black pretty well, and I'm also familiar with Olixul on the side of Kraken Squid, so I had a feeling those Chargers were coming out. But now they're going to be trying to fight for control around these middle. You see on the side of Ink Black, you've already got those specials online pushing through the mid, and they're going to be able to grab this Rainmaker and quickly go through and break that first checkpoint. And now here is where the real part of the push starts. Once they've got that Rainmaker broken again, they need to get up off this ramp, but they're gonna go ahead and now already go to down as Kraken Squids is going to be able to force them out of their bank. You saw the last jump out, and now mid is all purple and ready for Kraken Squids to be able to push through it. They've just got to get this pop, and then they need to try to not do the same thing and go down on the Rainmaker pedestal, but it looks like Ink Black is going to take them down there.
Yeah, Ink Black doing a really good job of trying to provide themselves some defense here and positioning themselves really well. And they're going to pop that Rainmaker shield right now. And it looks like the E-Leader is actually feeling pretty cozy, being able to move up into this mid area right now. Olixul is there and comfortable, especially next to this gal by Fed that we're going to see here. And they're going to try to inch that Rainmaker just a little bit more, getting it at least 1 point closer, with every point kind of counting here, and especially with these two mid checkpoints being so short to get to, you kind of just have to take it and run with it as soon as you can. With a 1 point difference here, but still plenty of time in this game to try to make some moves here. But we're going to go back into the neutral game at this moment right now. But Ink Black has wonderful control of mid at this point, and we're trying to see if we can break in and using the use of some torpedoes, it seems, and maybe some bombs as well to try to clear some space up on that platform.
Yep, and now you've got to be really careful here, because now that both of those checkpoints have fallen, it's a good old-fashioned game of Rainmaker like it was in Splatoon 2. You can gain points really fast on this board, especially here on Brine Water Springs, because once they round that corner and they start going up that ramp, those points are going to count super fast, and it can be really, really tricky to defend here. Right now, they're kind of still vying for control of mid here. You see both members of the teams there kind of having that fight in mid, but it does go kind of in Kraken Squid's favor. Now the junior down on Ink Black, which was a huge source of ink, but now they're just going to be kind of trading right now, left and right. The Charger goes down, the Gal goes down, and it looks like, oh no, I'm mistaken. I thought that for sure that bomb was going to get the kill, but a whole lot of specials are unloaded onto that crab tank. Right now, Kraken Squid's in possession of this Rainmaker, but forced into a little bit of an awkward situation by Ink Black, as Wyatt there beautifully gets that kill. 2 down now on the side of Kraken Squids. This mid is ready for Ink Black's taking.
Yeah, and comfortably so. You have the ZNF Charger by Mini being pushed up here and getting comfortable in this mid area. The Tri-Strike is going to come out to try to not only clear some space, but maybe force the members of Kraken Squids to be displaced a little bit, but that Killer Whale is going to come out in response as well. So we're really playing the displacement game here on both sides, and you have the Wave Breaker, you have purple Wave Breaker and green Wave Breaker back to back coming and breaking against each other there a little bit, and both teams getting tracked by either wave break as well. And again, pretty neutral game here, especially for like at least 3 minutes now. We have quite a neutral game, and both teams are playing very carefully to not allow anybody to have space to move this Rainmaker forward. And we do see, though, that Ink Black does have the advantage here, a 1-point advantage, but an advantage nonetheless. And that Rainmaker is going to go ahead and reset. Once again, we're still seeing that it's definitely doable to pop it. We can get it popped. We can get that shield off of there, but it's a matter of, can we pick it up and move it and get the points that we need? And I think that Kraken Squids here is trying to figure out how they can do that.
Yeah, they sure are, and they're trying to find those picks, but now they're 2 down themselves with just 30 seconds remaining in this game, and they're the ones who are going to have to take control and grab that last point to try to take the lead. Novadan doing a great job here, just trying to keep mid-painted, keep control, is going to get the trade off there. Oxel now kind of trying to snipe around, see if they can stop Kraken's or Ink Black from advancing. They're going to be picking up this Rainmaker for Kraken Squids, but you've got the Tri-Strikes, you've got the Zuka's coming out, and then the Sniper coming in too, and that is going to be game. A very low scoring match, but going to Ink Black for game 1.
Yeah, they were holding tight to those specials, and as soon as they noticed that, they knew that Kraken Squids has to make a move, and this is when they're gonna do it. And right away, the Tri-Strike and the Tri-Zuka coming out as soon as that Rainmaker was touched by Kraken Squids. They were just gonna say, not this time. You don't have time. We're not going to give you any space or time to do anything here. And that's exactly what they did. And here's Novaden throwing down that wave breaker, having 2 people tracked, but getting taken down by the Charger as they were trying to track the 2 members of Kraken Squids. And this is Ollie here, or Oily. Can you say their name again? Say it again. Elixir, thank you. Okay, I'll make sure I say it correctly. Elixir here, watching that Rainmaker, and there it is, the double Tri-Strike Zuka coming out just to stop them right before they're able to successfully get that push that they were looking for.
Yes, they were able to get that stop there. That was a great game. And now we're going to be gearing up for our second game. You know, what kind of changes do you want to see? This was a very low scoring game, Saf. They were only able to break those first 2 checkpoints, and then neither team really got any further than that. And you know, with that, I think it, first of all, attests to just how evenly matched these 2 teams are. You kind of brought up earlier before that game started, we have a Div 8 team and we have a Div 6 team. And, you know, looking at that, one may think, oh, well, this is going to be a clear runaway for the Div 6 team. They made Div 6 playoffs. Ink Black didn't even win Div 8 playoffs. Surely they're not going to be comparable, but obviously that is not the case here. Ink Black coming in very strong that first game, showing that they can hold their ground, take up that space, and not give it up. So what do you want to see out of these 2 teams as we move forward? What kind of changes to their comps do you want to maybe see to get a little bit more aggression and get more score on the board? We're going into Clam Blitz, which is a much more neutral heavy game than Rainmaker typically is, so they're gonna have to find a way to break that.
Yeah, I think coming into Eeltail with having it be such a long map, you definitely will see some Charger gameplay, I would assume. Just right off the bat, it's very easy to get set up there. You have the catwalks up top. There's no space to really flank, besides on each side of the teams on that kind of right side that with that catwalk that goes perpendicular to the map. That's usually where the key flanks are and where they will be. And so if that splash comes back into play, if that 52 comes back into play, and I would even want to argue the junior as well. I've seen quite a bit of junior gameplay happen where they are able to flank and get their wave breaker out on that right side. So I definitely think it's possible to see a little bit of that as well. But I don't know. I'm always a fan. You know me. I'm always a fan of the silly comp coming out. I'm always a fan of I preach about Inkjet. I think it's so fun for Inkjet to come on out. I'm looking forward to maybe some roller gameplay. I'm wondering when that undercover umbrella is going to come out as well, and I'm curious to see when that's going to make an appearance.
Oh, I know you would love to see that. And always hoping for an inkjet. Maybe we'll see one of those here tonight, either in this or the next set. I know that would make your heart very happy. But, you know, I kind of agree with you. Eeltail, I think that there's a great opportunity for, especially the ZNF specifically on this map. I think that tri-strikes are so good, not just pretty much in every mode, but especially in Clam Blitz for being able to clear that space in front of basket and being able to get a power clam pushed up there. It's really, really important, and tri-strikes do that so well. And I'm also interested to see, you know, are we going to see a Kraken coming out here? I think this is the stage. Everybody knows the Twitter clip of the Kraken going in on Eeltail Alley clams, and I wonder if we'll see that here as well.
Right, but no changes coming out from Ink Black this time, but we do see a ZNF charger of their own on the side of Kraken Squids, and we are gonna run a double splash combo here, one of each. We have the Vanilla Splash and the Splash Neo with a lot of special buildup, so a lot of tri-strikes to be had on the side of Kraken Squids, and as we were saying, there is that 96 Gal Deco coming out as well, so there is going to be some Kraken gameplay here for Kraken Squids, as the name implies, really.
Yeah, well, VCU Ink Black does not want to see that Kraken as they took that 96 gal out early. And right now, this map is starting to turn blue as you see Ink Black starting to advance. Kraken Squids trying to burn a tri-strike to find their way back into mid here. One of their members going down to the charger, and then this one now being pushed even further by the trip strikes. But they're able to take down one of Ink Black. You see the fight happening here on the bridge. Wyatt unfortunately going down there. Kraken Squids might be, well, just as I say it, the Kraken Squids might be able to find their footing there. Ink Black responds with a snipe out onto one of them. As we like to say, Saf, it's kind of just a big game of team deathmatch till you can find the space. But here comes that Kraken power jump into the basket. They're going to be able to open it, but there's just the two splashes up. They don't have a lot of clams. It looks like they're maybe able to just sink that one, and that's just going to be a very modest opening push. They're going to be giving Ink Black a power clam of their own to potentially work with, and with that kind of soft wipe, Ink Black needs to push forward, take as much space as they can so they can build up their clam economy and make a push here.
Yeah, and I appreciate N kind of near the end there, having their crab up and being the only one up on Kraken Squids and able to tactically retreat for a little bit until their mates could get back into this map, trying to stay alive and not quite jumping out, just retreating a little bit, which is definitely a good move on their part, because you don't want to, I guess, completely leave the map, because you want to be able to provide a little bit of distraction if you're able to. And it looked like Minnie there was trying to get in and jump in and throw that power clam to try to give Ink Black a pop of their own, but unfortunately was not able to do so. And so you have Kraken Squids now painting this map on the side of Ink Black, getting a lot of ink on the field. You have those tri-strikes coming out, some displacement going on. That ball trying to make its way to that middle catwalk there, but unfortunately not getting quite close enough to try to make the throw. And I think that that is going to be it for that ball for Kraken Squids. But they still have 11 clams in their possession, so the economy definitely on Kraken Squid's side right now, even though they don't have a ball form just yet. And there's still at least 2 minutes left in this game, so anything can definitely happen. But as we said before, Toma, both teams, the defense from both teams is so strong here, and very, once again, not a very high-scoring game with 2 minutes left to go.
Oh, it certainly is not. They need to find a way to break through, and right now that's just not happening at this moment. Both of them holding very strong, kind of again, like I said before, just shows how evenly matched these two teams are. Kraken Squids, I'm sorry, here has 2 power clams online on the clam economy currently in their favor, but they need to find the map control. You saw those ink strikes come out, but the Kraken is coming in and is going to hope to survive here. Gets the, oh my, no, they don't. They miss the power clam, just the splash up alive. Now Inkblack needs to move forward. They need to take advantage of that time, but they've got their last members kind of sitting back here, babysitting that clam. I don't know if they maybe thought that there was still more people up, trying to make sure they didn't get backdoored into the clam basket, but that is a lot of space that Inkblack isn't going to be able to take now, as Kraken or Squids is already respawned. You see them up here on this bridge trying to take this fight, but White gets the pick, and now this clam economy is hugely in favor of Inkblack. They're going to be able to get the break. They throw in another power clam. You've got these trip strikes in here, creating so much room. Toto going to be able to find even a few more clams, and that's going to bring the push all the way down to 39. Inkblack taking the lead with 40 seconds left in this match.
I felt myself leaning closer and closer to the screen, seeing all these tri-strikes coming out. It's just blue, orange, blue, orange, just a sea of tri-strike from both sides coming out, but you can still see that clam basket ticking down. Inkblack taking it to the 39 mark with 20 seconds left to go for Kraken Squids to try to make a move here. They have 2 power clams, 1 pity and 1 that they've formed with 8 clams in their pocket. Ooh, and a nice pick happening there by Mini on Inkblack, and making sure that Kraken Squids is not having any room to try to push forward here. We're going to be going into overtime now with 2 specials online for Kraken Squids, and Fed is going to come in with that Kraken of their own as well to try to get in as close as possible to try to make a break here, but unfortunately not. Looking up at the basket, you can see their teammates trying to respond as well, but the wipeout happens as they break that barrier there, and Inkblack is going to paint around that basket, making sure that it's just not going to be feasible enough for Kraken Squids to come back in, and Inkblack going ahead and taking game 2.
Oh my goodness, that was, you could see that push just almost coming together there. That Kraken, if they'd gotten the clam off, if somebody had jumped to them, that could have ended very, very differently, and you could have had Kraken Squids rocking away. And you know, sometimes that's all you need, and especially in Clam Blitz, is you just need one good push. One solid push can win a game. We saw that with Inkblack. And now we're going to see kind of what happened here. This Kraken here trying to find the path forward. Members of Inkblack know it's coming in. They've got this tri-strike in front of it, doing whatever they can to try to take it down. And they're going to be caught there right as they're trying to exit their Kraken on that end lag. And the members of Kraken Squids trying to follow up, trying to get those last clams in there if they can. But Inkblack's defense is just on top of it and denied them those dunks.
Yeah, and I gotta give a shout out to Wyatt there on that replay. You could see that Kraken coming in hot, and Wyatt was kind of alone in front of that basket there for a little bit, trying to defend and keep the Kraken back as much as possible. And it kind of seemed like almost right place, right time kind of thing, if you will, because they were shooting at the Kraken and pinging them backwards just enough to where they couldn't get that surge roll onto them to take them out, and just not get close enough and taking them out of Kraken, like giving themselves time for the Kraken to run out right in front of that basket in a sea of blue. They found themselves in a sea of blue after that Kraken ended. So just kind of unlucky, I think, for Fed at that moment, but very lucky and very well played by Wyatt there.
Oh, absolutely. That was just a great defense there. And, you know, they tried to sneak it in. Gotta give them credit where credit is due. That Kraken strategy really can work. We saw it work in the opening moments, and I'm sure we may see it happen again later tonight. Kraken, of course, not only good on Clam Blitz, it's got great functionality on tower control as well. And I'm sure we're going to see more of that, but we're not ready for tower control just yet. We've got a returning favorite from Splatoon 2, Manta Maria Zones. Tell me a little bit about the return of this map here in the new season. What do you think about it? I know we've got that double zone action going on here. What do you like to see happen?
Well, personally, I'm a huge fan of the double zone maps, so I'm glad that for a map that was going to come back in this most recent season, I'm glad that it was a double zones type map that we have with Manta Maria. And I gotta say, I'm a very big fan as well of the expansion of Street. You have a big expansion of Street happening in the back end of the ship there for both sides. Definitely allows a lot more space for 1v1s and even 2v1s and trapping people along and trying to get a lot of movement going as well. So I'm definitely a big fan of it. I'm glad with the changes that were made, and I'm even happy with the tower control change that was made where like a box I think was taken out around in that street area. But at these compositions here, Toma, what are you seeing? There's quite a change that's happened on the side of Kraken Squids.
There's a change that's happened here on both sides, and this is something I could have told you was going to happen as a backline, and it's that the chargers on this map are going to go away. This is not a great charger map. It is really hard for chargers to be able to find a place to sit reliably where they're not just going to get bombed out or face a lot of pressure. But you know what is a great weapon, especially for backlines on this map? It is splatlings, especially with those grates across mid, being able to just kind of stack run speed and be able to sit up there. It's a great choice. We do see Mini choosing to run the Mini splatling this time as opposed to a backline splatling, which I think is definitely an interesting choice. You don't see a whole lot of vanilla Mini, usually Zemi, coming out, so that's a great choice there, and it's proving to do well as Ink Black was able to hold that zone all the way to 62, hoping to be able to cap it for a little bit longer, but Kraken Squids is going to go ahead and start applying penalty onto Ink Black, getting control of this zone here and picking off another member of Ink Black. As you see now, they're going to be trying to advance towards this bunker and this street area and see if they can kind of create a lockout.
Yeah, no, Alex was definitely very comfortable in this mid area, not really taking the high ground here and going lower on this left zone. But now getting taken out and getting taken out as well by a combo of that Wave Breaker and I believe Novaden as well. And you have the members of Ink Black making their way into this middle area. They're going to flip this zone back into their possession, and they are going to push the street area just very quickly, pretty rapidly after that zone switched over. The members of Ink Black were in the street immediately on the side of Kraken Squids. And you can see a lot of ink being had and going down for Ink Black as well. They're really not providing Kraken Squids any space to get back into this mid area. The Tri-Strike coming out here trying to hold that left side there, and you can see Mini as well trying to hold that left side and get some ink down and not allow Kraken Squids to really get a lot of ink coverage there. And no specials online currently for either side right now, and especially with all this ink flying out and members being held back to try to give themselves a proper pathway, it's kind of surprising to not see any specials coming out. You could see their Mini got their stamp online pretty quickly and used it just as quickly as it came online, and they were gonna throw it, I think, at somebody versus actually using it. But now with the zone being in the neutral game, this would be Kraken Squid's opportunity to apply some penalty points onto Ink Black.
It sure is, but they're going to be trying their best not to give up that space. You saw Nova didn't go down there, but Toto's going to quickly trade that and now get control of the zone again for Ink Black. 10 seconds left remaining on this counter. They need to be able to neutralize at least one of these zones to stop the count, but they're going to be rushing right into Ink Black's hands. Going down as Ink Black now takes this game to 3-0, and this is set point. This is a best of 7 here tonight, so if Kraken Squids wants to stay alive in this set and take home their first win this season, they need to get together. They need to kind of calm down. They need to make sure that they're not going to freak out or start panicking, because they've got to get this reverse sweep going, and they got to do it game by game.
And Toto Star here on the replay getting up into the bunker of Kraken Squids, being in a pretty good spot to do a call out or two. You could see as soon as that one member of Kraken Squids, I missed the name unfortunately, but that one member of Kraken Squids trying to break their way out of street to try to neutralize that zone, you could see the two members of Ink Black just ready to respond on that zone right away, and to make sure that they were not able to get any ink coverage down pretty quickly there. But I gotta say, I think it was so crucial. The Kraken Squids really was trying to come back out into this game. They almost had a soft wipe situation happen to them, but Ink Black Ink Black able to rush their street area as quick as possible and just let those points tick down. Zone ticking down relatively uncontested. There wasn't really anybody there to defend it, and Ink Black knew that. And because they had all the other members of Kraken Squids pushed back into their own mast area. So definitely feeling the confidence coming from Ink Black in that one.
Oh yeah, and that confidence, they are certainly riding a high here right now, going into game 4, knowing that they just need to win one more to be able to take their first win this season. You know, and going down week 1, 1-4 to UCSD, or UCSD Esports Gold, they want to find that momentum, especially they want to find in their group the wins to try to be able to make it further, make it into playoffs for the season, and that's going to have implications going in. Their week 2 was rescheduled, I believe, since we don't have a result in for that. So it's important that they start getting these wins now. They don't want to stack up too many losses too early into this season. And this is where they're seeming to find their footing.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you there. And now with taking us almost into match point here, we're going to Undertow Spillway onto tower control. And so, I mean, I'm convinced that you could go Splatling or you could go Charger here. I think both are viable options for that backline fight to be happening from one of each side. And I don't know, Toma, what are you thinking? Do you think that heavy Splatling would be the better choice here? Or, I mean, I don't know. ZNF Charger, I think, is just a good all-around pick these days. I'm starting to learn and to find that ZNF Charger is just the all-around good pick, and it's definitely a good one to have in your pocket if you are a backline in this comp scene.
Oh, it absolutely is, and Trip Strikes is so good on this map. Of course, I'm a little bit biased. I play Stringer on this map. I think it's the best Stringer map in the world, but nobody on these two teams plays Stringer, so we're probably going to see ZNF, and we do see the ZNF on both sides coming out. We see the Blaster finally coming in on the side of Ink Black with Toto, and we see the V Junior coming out on the side of Kraken Squids, hopefully trying to provide them a little bit of safer pushes. Some of these checkpoints can be a little bit scary, and having that bubble there can definitely help them get through it.
Yeah, that definitely a very defensive maneuver coming out from Kraken Squids, and I think in a game like Tower Control here, they want to try to get their points as safely as possible and get themselves on the board here. So I think that doing the bubbler pick is a good call. Now you have Killer Whale coming out for the side of Kraken Squids, trying to maybe cause some displacement. You could see Toto Star there. Yeah, that's exactly what they wanted. They wanted to push Toto Star and kind of call them out, if you will, take them away from a sharking opportunity, and getting the wipeout here on Kraken Squids. And now Ink Black is going to go ahead and get some points on this board here, and a wipeout happening once again with the members of Kraken Squids being pretty staggered coming back into this map here. Minnie getting an excellent pick on the jump down there from one of the members of Kraken Squids, and they're going to just go ahead and make their way to this second checkpoint up pretty easily here with that bubble coming out, and Minnie feeling pretty comfortable on that tower right now.
Oh yeah, and they are, and this is where it could all start to snowball. Tower is such a snowballing mode. As they are sitting on that tower, they're going to be able to passively gain special charge, and you can see that they're not going to be relenting with that. They know that they've got specials that are going to just passively build themselves by riding it, so they did not waste any time pushing up into the base. But it seems like Kraken Squids finally, well, just as I say that, the commentator's curse was going to be able to deal with them, but now Ink Black not giving up, retaking the tower and starting to push right back up here. Again, you've got a defensive bubble coming out on the side of Kraken Squids, trying to give their players a little bit more room to be able to flush Ink Black out, and you've got those tri-strikes coming out on their side, as well as you can see them starting to advance towards the mid area, but getting picked off by that Zuka there. It seems like they've finally been able to force Ink Black out of their own base, but they're lacking a lot of the ground that they need right now. But there's a great shark here from Wyatt. You see them across those getting across those splash walls, getting Nova Din in there, and kind of stopping this push before it can get through this our first checkpoint.
Yeah, and Kraken Squids, though, is pretty unrelenting here. They were a little bit staggered at the beginning there, but they're not going to let that deter them. They're still trying to put up a good fight and get back into this map, but now with 3 members down, they do have that bubble online for when they want to use it. And if they were able to come back into this map kind of behind this pillar area, that would be a good place to utilize that space to try to see and flush out the members of Ink Black as best as they can. but now that tower is going to be at the 39 mark for the side of Ink Black, with at least one member, I believe Wyatt, going down and not being able to be there to provide a good sharking mechanic for themselves and provide some aggression. And you can see too that Mini is playing pretty carefully here. They are in that on that median, positioned pretty well on that median area, but they're being patient with pushing up. They're not going to push up unless all of their teammates are with them as well. And now we have Toto Star on the tower for Ink Black. We're still holding and dancing with that tower into this second checkpoint area. It doesn't seem like Ink Black wants that tower to really leave this corner area, and they're doing a good job of trying to hold it there as best as possible to make sure if they can get even more points on the board and push it, that they are able to. But now it seems like Kraken Squids is actually going to try to push that tower back into the middle area. Mini getting a really good pick there, but that tower is still going to make it back into mid. But Wyatt is there to follow up to try to give it a little push as well. A lot of what I'm seeing with Ink Black in this game is we're just going to inch the tower little by little as much as we can, and I think that they were able to waste a lot of time keeping that tower into that left corner area.
Yes, they were, but now finally, Kraken Squid's able to find their footing a bit as they're able to break this first checkpoint, but you do have specials online on the side of Ink Black coming out there. You got that Tri-Strike, you got a Zuka coming out, getting the Junior just as they're about to take out Mini. A huge pick there, keeping your ZNF alive, especially with just about 30 seconds left remaining on this. If Mini can get those Tri-Strikes up, that's all that Ink Black will need to be able to defend this here, but control now is in favor of Kraken Squids. But you've got the blaster here looking at the tower, Toto, but the Junior is going to be able to take it down. They're going to be able to get past this second checkpoint. They got the bubble coming out, and this may be the lead changing, and it is going to be the lead changing for Kraken Squids. 10 seconds left on this game. They just need to be able to ride it out, keep Ink Black off of this tower for the last 4 seconds. They need to charge up their specials, play it a little bit safely. Toto is on that tower. You see the jump coming in. They're going to back up, find some space to be able to reorganize and retake this as the tower moves towards mid. You see Kraken Squid slowly approaching, trying to build up, using the paint from this fight to build up their specials. Alex still there on that ZNF, trying to see if they can find their strikes, but knocked a little bit out of position. The Tri-Strikes come out, but they don't find their way to the tower. As Ink Black is riding this up, there is the bubble. The fight is happening on the tower, and Kraken Squids is going to be able to defend it.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! They were able whose bubble was that? Whose bubble was that?
The Junior's bubble on the side of the Kraken Squid. It was Dizzy right there, saving the game. Oh my god, that was wild.
The amount of gall that Dizzy had there to not only get close to the tower relatively undetected for a little bit, but to pop their bubbler when there were 3 members of Ink Black positioned on this tower. You see Toto, you see Mini, you see Novaden trying to lead the way, lead the charge for this tower to be moving. There's Alexel trying to clear some space, trying to provide some pressure. The Tri-Strikes are coming out to try to give some coverage here. You see Dizzy putting that bubble down and then going into it and shooting. You could see Toto and Novaden the outside of that bubble trying to shoot inwards but not landing their hits, and Dizzy coming up and taking down 3 members. I'm like the amount of confidence that Dizzy had to make a play like that was just incredible.
Oh my god, you talk about the game-winning triple there as Dizzy was able to hold them off. I'm not even gonna lie. I saw those Tri-Strikes not hit the tower and I was like, it's over. It's not gonna happen. And I saw it, I'm like, there's just a Junior alive. What are they gonna do? Like, they're a Junior. There's 3 people on the tower. Dizzy taking all those doubts and like, hold on, we're not done here. We're not done in this set. We're taking this game and we're gearing up for this reverse sweep. And I'm sure that feels absolutely great for Kraken Squids. Now they've got their first point on the board, exactly what they needed to stay alive here tonight.
Yeah, the momentum coming off of that win for Kraken Squids is real. And going into game 5, we're going to be taking it down to Scorch Gorge on Rainmaker. And I mean, wow, that I would be feeling pretty good after a win like that. Not only taking the lead with a few seconds left, to spare. But then also Ink Black almost reversing that lead and just Kraken Squids not losing their cool with that. And Dizzy said, let me cook Kraken Squids, and I'm gonna get on this tower and pop this bubble in the right place. And if they didn't put that bubble where that tower was going, I don't know how that would have fared for them. I don't know if we would keep going, Toma.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure those shots would have found their target, and now they're going to be riding that wave of high into Rainmaker on Scorch Gorge, hoping to pick up a second point here. We see now Dizzy bringing out the other junior this time, hoping to bring out some more junior shenanigans, maybe get another quad with that, as they're going to be both going in. And we see also a changeup. We got Novadin on this Stamper, a little bit of a different comp coming out for the side of Ink Black too.
Yeah, I definitely want to see how they want to utilize the Zipcaster here on that Stamper weapon. Definitely a good distraction, pretty aggressive if you want to be, maintaining a lot of space for yourself, a lot of high ground that you can take here, and try to, like I said, be a distraction or providing some good callouts as well. But right off the gate here, we're going to see Kraken Squids picking up this Rainmaker and moseying their way to that first checkpoint, and especially with two members of Ink Black going down pretty early on here. That first checkpoint was a pretty easy pop, I think, for Kraken Squids starting off here. But now we have the Tri-Strike coming out from Ink Black. We're going to take at least one member down, Fed going down, and you have N trying to defend mid there a little bit, but you can see that the Stamper coming in pretty quickly here to try to see if they can look for a pick, and it's causing a bit of a retreat for the side of Kraken Squid. Now with two specials online for Ink Black here, if they're able to not only provide themselves enough space and momentum to get this Rainmaker going, I think we could see another reverse sweep happening here, and getting that Rainmaker onto that pedestal.
Oh yeah, we may see it here, and now they're 3 down on the side of Kraken Squids, as Minnie's going to be able to take that to a Rainmaker straight up to that pedestal. They're going to be able to get the break here, at least be able to take the lead. You see Minnie kind of hop up here onto this snipe, not wanting to go directly kind of underneath that ledge where it may be a little bit too dangerous, and they're going to be finding their picks. It's just the 52 gal left online, and there is the wipeout. The strikes coming out, and that is going to be the set for Ink Black.
Man, the coordination there, they had it on lock, Toma. As soon as that checkpoint was popped, the members of Ink Black mobilized so quickly to get into position and to keep Kraken Squids back into their base. And especially with Minnie holding so tightly to that Rainmaker, just swimming. You could see that there was a lot of ink coming out for Minnie to try to swim on that pathway and swim up that ramp. There was no aggression really coming from Minnie there. Minnie was just trying to go as far as they were willing to go, and as far as their teammates would paint them in for them to go. You could see Fed and N trying to set up on that little top platform there, trying to throw some subs out to provide themselves a little bit more aggression, maybe give themselves some time to think, like, how can we break in here? But that Trizuka over on the side taking two members out up on top of that platform, and here's Minnie just saying, hey, you know what? I have the space and I have the time. Tri-Strike's gonna come out and back me up, and I'm just gonna dunk this right here.
Oh yeah, Ink Black looking to respond there. They took that triple at the end of that tower control game very personally. They were like, hey, what was up with that? You ruined our 4-0 run, and they were gonna finish that off here. That was absolutely fantastic.
Oh my gosh, Saf and Toma, a lot of these games had different types of emotions, I feel like, as we kind of went through them, and we're actually going to show you clips from all of the matches that happened during this set. So we started off with this first game, with Ink Black and Kraken Squids really not pushing anywhere past this checkpoint. Like, it didn't get anywhere past this checkpoint, and that is something you very rarely see in Brine Water. Is that right, Saf?
Yeah, I mean, the two checkpoints are so early on, in the map is so small, and so really if you're able to get mid control pretty quickly, you can pop those first checkpoints right away. But I think having those two backline players being able to position themselves really well, there was just no space.
That's right. And then we moved on to game 2 here, which had a slightly different pace. And we saw Kraken Squids get that first push, but unfortunately, it wasn't going to be enough for them to hold on. Toma, we talked about Ink Black and how strong they are, but take a look at their defense here and how quickly they responded.
Yes, they were able to do a great job there flushing them out. And, I think this game was all about the game of patience. We saw time and time again these pushes try to come through from both sides and being stalled out, and Ink Black was able to just kind of hold it until the exact right moment. They didn't rush too far forward. They weren't too hasty with their approaches, and you see here that I'm sorry, this is not the one that came together. This is actually the one that fell apart. Like I said, they go back and forth. It wasn't the moment in time, but later on in this set, they were able to find that exact moment, get in there and get all those clams. And that's exactly what Clam Blitz is about. And we saw it played out so wonderfully in this game.
And Toma, you called it with the Kraken and the maneuverability. We'll see that coming up pretty shortly, as this one is, going to be wrapping it up here with this push. Kraken Squids going around this side. They aren't able to score, but the idea of this is how we play Claim Blitz now. This is what we do. It's crazy. It's a brand new game. Is that right, Saf?
Yeah, it definitely feels like a new game here, and arguably it's the one that is the most fun in the competitive scene right now, because the coordination that you need to try to get an effective push going and the special coordination that needs to be provided to give yourself space here. You could see all the tri-strikes here. This moment in this game was my favorite because we're trying to tell you what's going on, and it's almost like we can't, because there's so much tri-strike happening. But what we do know is that Ink Black was ticking down that penalty and getting those points in just so quickly.
And Toma, this final push here from Kraken Squids, just trying to do it, but again, Ink Black's defense able to stop it on this push. They're able to score, but when you get a wipeout right at the end and you don't have any clams, don't have the lead, it can be really hard.
Oh, it sure can be. And you saw, like you said, Ink Black's defense, you saw Wyatt there ready to respond, holding back that Kraken for just long enough.
And then we moved on to our third game here, where Ink Black seemed pretty dominant on Manta's zones. It was very difficult for Kraken Squids to really find any footing, and you can tell just based on all of the paint of this map. That one pretty much says itself by looking at this map with how dominant Ink Black was. But we did move on to game 4, with Ink Black trying to get that shutout, trying to get the sweep, but take a look at this final push by Kraken Squids. Saf, I know you know how they did it, but tell everybody how they did it.
Oh my gosh, I just dizzy. That bubble placement could not have been better, but at the same time, it's like having 3 members of Ink Black on that tower with 2 of them trying to push Dizzy off and shoot at them, and just being right on the outside of the bubbler to not have their shots take effect. So it's just like we've seen it before on Ludi tonight, right? Like, some things end by just a frame difference of an ending happening where the ending could have been completely different from what we were seeing. And it's coming up right here. Mini on there. And you can see Nova and Toto right on the outside of that tower, and especially that bubble shrinking a little bit, but just not enough to keep it off the tower and to get them off. So, I would be feeling so good if I was Dizzy right now. Like, that play was just something else.
Yeah, and so that's what sent that up for the momentum for this final, hopefully not final match for them, but how dominant Ink Black was on Rainmaker, it can really snowball, even though there's a checkmate in place. Just the offense on this time now for Ink Black, right, Toma?
Absolutely, and you just saw brilliant special coordination right there. They were able to find the picks and kind of bring it all together. They had the specials out. You saw that even though they were able to kind of dip and dodge through that whale coming out, and they were able to bring the strikes just in front of the Rainmaker to be able to protect it all the way to the goal.
It was really impressive, but hey, we still have another set coming up. We have UTD Stars of Orion versus UCF Night Sharks. This one will be happening in about 5 minutes or so. Another Div 1 matchup, another University of Central Florida team. Toma, tell us a little bit more about this Stars of Orion roster.
Yeah, so Stars of Orion roster, you have a few notable players from the Splat community. You got Secant that is on there. They played for Prism. Jin B used to be on Marine Melody. They kind of are on Splatterscope. And Splatana Wiper, a very interesting kind of combination of players there. You have Satora, who plays for Vesper, and one of our very own Ludi Tonight commentators, Nito from Aquatic Vanguard, also on that roster, followed up by their final member, Onkar. Not necessarily, we don't have any info for team, but they were able to place second on the bronze entrance exam, and they were in gold bracket for LSL, so definitely a strong player here still too. A lot to look out for on the side of Stars of Orion.
And Saf, Night Sharks, they are a team that we have seen before, has been very well. What is their roster looking like, and what can we expect?
So a lot of good stuff coming out from Night Sharks here. You have a lot of machine gameplay coming out from Falco. You got dualies and splash. It doesn't, not specifically what kind of dualies. It could be anything, really. Coming out from Nifty. And then for the backline, you have the vanilla scope, which is interesting. And then you also have an E-leader as well. So I'm curious to see where they want to try to utilize that vanilla scope into their compositions. And then you have Toast on the 96 gal, which it's not the deco, it's the regular 96 gal. So there's a lot of vanilla weapons coming out for the composition of Night Sharks, and I'm really curious to see how they like to utilize the vacuum, because that's what I'm seeing a lot. And beautifully so, I'm seeing a tent coming out for HackCon as well, so I'm hoping to have some eyes on that tent.
Yeah, and Saf, you mentioned earlier today about the unconventional weapons that we don't see very often. Those are very enjoyable. So this match will be coming up at the top of the hour. We are going to take a quick break, let these players get into the lobby, and we do want to remind you that there is another set also going on the CCA channel. They're going to be starting... They're going to be starting pretty soon, I believe, so we will be doing live look-ins of that match as well, so you will not miss anything by watching the stream. But we will be taking a quick break before we get started, so you guys do not go anywhere. You are watching our CCA Triple Header on SplatoonTourney. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our CCA Triple Header here on SplatoonTourney. We are getting ready for our Div 1 matchup, our second set of the evening. UTD Stars of Orion versus UCF Night Sharks. It is going to be a good one. Saf and Toma, take it away looking at our maps and modes that we're going to be playing tonight.
Oh my goodness. So we're going to be going back into Brine Water Springs Rainmaker. We saw this play out earlier, and it was kind of very much so of a stalemate match, which is not very common. For that map, you usually see that first checkpoint fall pretty early, and then points just get racked up on the board. Sometimes you can see even like under minute KOs. So I'm wondering what kind of weapons we see. We got their lineups here on the side. What do you want to see out of here? What weapons do you think can work that we can maybe not see the same kind of stalemate situation the entire game, and hopefully one of those teams can find the breakaway they need to run away with it?
All right, Toma, I got one word and one word only, and that is tent. I want to see Hack on the side of Night Sharks use the tent umbrella here, because I definitely think if there is a good position to take the first checkpoint, to take that first pedestal, the tent could be so major here in trying to crawl their way up that ramp area. Even if there's a charger applying pressure, I think that tent is going to be a key player here. And so that is the one thing I'm like, please, I want to see that happen.
Oh yeah, I absolutely would love to see that too, and hopefully they'll be cooking up what you're thinking of. As like we said, that's such a straightaway that you've got to be able to get up, and it can be so challenging when you have bombs and shots and charger lines just pointed straight down at you, especially when you got this huge glowing target on yourself. As the Rainmaker, you're very visible to everyone on the map. If they can kind of just converge down upon you, they can wipe you out. And that tent can provide a lot of cover and a lot of safe pushing ability to the side of Night Sharks. And I think that would be a very interesting pick to see come out.
Mm-hmm. The other thing too is on the side of Stars of Orion, there's a lot of vacuum users to be had. There's at least two that like to use vacuum on that splatter scope. You have Jimby on the splatter scope, and you have Saroa on the Staroa, on the 96 gal. So I'm curious to see how the vacuum kind of makes its way into play here, but we're not going to see either of that, and I'm so sad we're not going to see any tent gameplay as well. Unfortunate, but that's okay. That's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. But there is going to be a Kraken for potentially some caravanning action happening, trying to lead that Rainmaker up successfully to these checkpoints. But the firefight's already happening in mid with two members of Stars of Orion going down right away, and I believe that is a third member going down as well. The Rainmaker briefly gets touched by Toast on the side of Night Sharks, but is immediately shut down, and Stars of Orion is not going to let them get any more points than that on this current push. But you have Billy, it's Billy backwards, so I think I'm just going to say that. You have Billy breaking up into this checkpoint area. That first checkpoint is going to be popped by Night Sharks now, with members of Stars of Orion on the response here, trying to come back into this map, picking up the Rainmaker, and it looks like we're trying to make our way out into mid and see what we can do.
Yep, and those tri-strikes were able to delay that push just long enough, but they're gonna be falling back in. And now with this wipeout, this is where you can see it. This is where you can see that straight line come away. You saw those tri-strikes come out, and I believe it was those Tetra dualies able to just kind of slip in there and pick off the Rain before going down themselves. Tetra is definitely a weapon that doesn't mind getting trades instead of flat out kills. But now the Rainmaker is still in possession of Night Sharks. All of this orange in front of them as their members are going to be able to pick them off. They just need to be able to paint this pedestal and get up it. Right now it's blue. They try to get up it, but there's no paint there, and they get sniped out of the dunk.
Oh, the stress I would be feeling if I was Armil right now. That movement that they had was so spectacular there. Not quite getting the dunk, taking it to the one, but that means that Night Sharks Stars of Orion basically need to win this game in order to take a win here off of Night Sharks. And Stars of Orion now having that Rainmaker on the 77 mark with the wipeout happening on their side. Night Sharks doing a great job of being so aggressive and shutting down the Dually and the Splatana Wiper from getting any picks. Two very aggressive weapons on the side of Stars of Orion. but just not quite finding the picks that they're looking for and that they're hoping for. So Night Sharks are going to hold on to this Rainmaker at the bottom here. That Kraken is going to come out from Toast, and you have two members, one of them jumping out. You have the Sniper trying to run away and trying to get away as quickly as possible, but unfortunately getting taken down by Toast in that Kraken form right away. And now Night Sharks are trying to push this Rainmaker and try to secure themselves the KO here, and Nifty is going to be able to do that successfully, taking game number 1, and Stars of Orion being pushed back into their base pretty far.
Yep, and that is the gameplay that you can see here on Brinewater. The one we did not see last set, where once these teams are up here in this ramp and they've got that space, if you get wiped out, it is so hard to force them out, and they can just run up. They were able to defend it the first time, getting that snipe right onto the Rainmaker, but not so lucky the second time. You see here members of Stars of Orion trying their best to defend, but you've got the Kraken coming out from Night Shark's Toast, coming up here, forcing a jump out, and then getting down on this Charger, not quite finding the pick there. Their friend Billy here does, as they now are just going to hold this Rainmaker. They're going to be trying to clear as much space as they can. Stars of Orion responding, trying to pick off the Rain, but they know, hey, I just gotta back up for just a second from those strikes. And then their two members, Billy and Toast, up here keeping the enemy distracted, not letting them contest this Rainmaker as it's gonna find its way to the podium.
Yeah, and you could see Jinbei making the jump down there, trying to get a couple slashes in on that Rainmaker to try to push them back a little bit, or at least scare them away, if you will, give a little bit of pressure to deter them from trying to push themselves up onto that pedestal. But Nifty having the straightaway painted for them, having the pedestal painted for them, was just, I gotta do this now. It's now or never if we're gonna get the Rainmaker this close. So I gotta take my chance here, and it paid off for Night Sharks there. But moving on, we're going into Eeltail Alley Clan Blitz once again. We saw previously the 2 E-Leader picks being chosen for Brinewater for one apiece on each team. And I'm wondering if we're going to see that here, but we're actually going to do a little bit of a look in here with UCSD Esports Gold and EA UCD Banana Split over on the CCA channel, and they're going to be starting their game off right now on Eeltail Alley. And oh, I like seeing CD Woomy with a carbon roller there. What are you seeing here, Toma?
You know, definitely that carbon roller is something to look out for. They're on clams on Eeltail right now. We saw that coming out earlier, and right now you see Banana Split kind of just being able to push forward really fast there. I know that they've got a pretty aggressive comp. You saw that Viper, those Tetras, those are going to be great picks for them. But our set is ready to be getting back into. We're going to be going into the same game here on Eeltail Alley. As we're going to be loading in, we're going to be seeing a Viper, and we're going to see a Viper and Tetra come out here too, cooking up a little bit of what they were on that other stream right now. And we see a Kraken coming out, a different Kraken option here on the side. Actually, it's a double Kraken. Is that a double Kraken? No, there's just a Kraken on each side. I'm looking too much at it. Of these teams, as they're going to just be fighting for mid right now to try to get some picks and find the clam economy.
Yeah, it's still 2 Krakens and no Crab to be had in this one matchup here today. And one thing's for certain too, having that double aggression coming out from the Tetra, from Seekin, and coming out from Jinbei, the Splatana Viper, definitely a good matchup there for them to be moving together. But the first pop is actually going to come from Night Sharks here. You can see Staroa bringing out that Kraken, getting 2 picks there. That was wonderful. Pushing the members of Night Sharks out as quickly as possible, only allowing them to get down to the 74 mark and taking the space back for themselves, getting a lot of pink there. Being really keen to the beacons coming out from the Kraken roller as well. As you could see, Jinbei was able to break that close beacon there, making sure to not allow them to get too close to home. The Reef slider coming in, trying to get some space, not quite getting the pick I think that they were looking for, but definitely displacement factor coming out here on Eeltail from the side of Night Sharks. Another member of Stars of Orion going down. Night Sharks doing an excellent job of maintaining mid here. They have the clam economy in their favor, but unfortunately not having enough to try to make a ball. And as I say that, there they go. They're just going to go ahead and pop it right again there. And Toast throwing in a little bit of a follow-up. Our Meal on the side there throwing a little bit of follow-up with the jump-in happening as well. You could see Jinbei trying to get their stamp out to try to push them away from that platform, but just not quite being successful at it. And they're just trickling clams into this basket down to the 34.
Yes, they are. You saw them there trying to keep it open for as long as they can, but 34 is where it is going to close. But Night Sharks this whole game right now so far showing a great job just getting in the enemy base, and they're really hard to get out. Even after that first push came to life and it was ended shortly after, they didn't get a whole lot out of the push, but they kept that map control pretty much the whole time. You saw that they were trying to be tri-striked out, but that Kraken roller was just ready to respond anyways. But now with just the charger up, the rest of the members now coming back out on the respawn, this looks like it was going to be Stars of Orion's chance, but now after the people coming back in and two going down on either side, it's going to return very much so to a neutral game, and Stars of Orion a little bit of a missed opportunity there to be able to get forward into Night Shark's base.
Yeah, and Stars of Orion, I think, are trying their best to try to create some sort of formation for themselves. See, as you can see here, you have Jinbei now once again coming out with that Stamper, but getting taken out right away. You have Soroa on that Kraken form right now, trying to shoot themselves up onto that platform, but just barely missing and kind of getting stuck on that ramp area there and getting taken down. Night Sharks now having a power clam in their possession with two members down on Stars of Orion coming back into this map. Jinbei going down once again as well, and our Meal's just going to say, hey, I think I'm actually going to just take my opportunity here, throw a splat wall and some tri-strikes out, and I'm going to pop that basket open once again with follow-up coming out from Toast as well, and that penalty is now gone with three members of Night Sharks down, but Nifty still there getting a pick and getting clams into that basket. They're gonna Kraken now in front of that basket. Secant trying to run away, Jinbei trying to run away as well. And you can see that the members of Night Sharks were able to get some clams and come back, but just a little bit too late for that basket to close on them. Now at the 13 mark, Stars of Orion still with a minute left to go to try to get some points on this board.
Yes, oh my god, I just wanted that Kraken roller is absolutely crazy. We've seen it time and time again. It just hold this space, and now it's just a few more clams. Well, no more clams anymore left as they're able to find that KO. Night Sharks there just really showing a very impressive display, being able to hold that turf down the entire game. Even after the pushes came to an end, they kind of just backed off just a little bit, retreated back to mid, was able to find more clams, but never really gave up that space underneath the bridge as they were looking to create kind of a situation where they kept a sustained push going.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. They were not letting up under that bridge area there. They maintained control of Stars of Orion's bridge for most of that game. They were able to push up and get close for a majority of that game, and it seemed like Stars of Orion kind of lost their footing there near the end in the last minute, and they were able to, even though the basket closed so quickly, they were able to pop it just as quickly now. And you can see in the replay, they only needed a few clams to follow up after that basket popped in order to secure themselves the game there, and just unrelenting pressure coming from Night Sharks. And I have to say, I think that Nifty there with that Kraken roller, that was such a crucial play for them, because they were the third one up. They were the last ones, or they were the last one standing with all of that, and finding themselves in a 3v1 situation, but were able to not only get a pick, but also pop Kraken and displace the members of Stars of Orion from going further out, even like leaving that bridge area. They were unable to leave that bridge area when that Kraken came out, and Night Sharks found themselves underneath that bridge almost immediately after responding, not only picking up some clams and getting some clams in their pockets, but also finding themselves immediately on the sides of Stars of Orion, ready to keep them pushed back once again. So yeah, the Kraken roller gameplay was just insane there. It just went really well utilized.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And now we're going to be going into Manta zones again, and I'm kind of curious if this is going to be one. Well, I say that now we're going to cut real back in to a live look in on the CCA Splatoon channel as they're going into this very same map. UCSD Esports Gold versus Banana Split. You've got the Carbon Roller coming out, a great pick here. Kind of a double leader, one leader on each team coming out. Not exactly what I would have normally expected here. We saw last game, last set, both of the backlines switching off to Splatlings, maybe trying to take advantage of those greats. So we're going to be wishing them both luck as they get that set underway. But we're getting ready to go into ours here now, getting into game 3 of Stars of Orion versus Night Sharks. We see once again that on Stars of Orion, they're kind of opting to go a little bit more aggressive, going without their backline this time. And we do see a Charger still come out on the side of Night Sharks with that Z and F, with those strikes that can maybe clear out some space, as well as the Glugas coming in. That's a new pick.
Yeah, I do greatly enjoy seeing some Gluga gameplay coming out here, and I think that for Night Sharks, I believe keeping the ZNF Charger is a good choice, not only for the tri-strikes, but it was shown in that last game that our meal was comfortable with that pick. They were able to get good picks and able to utilize and be mobile on the map here, but the first zone cap is actually going to go to Stars of Orion in this one, with them having one member down, sure, but they have 3 specials online right now to respond here, and the Kraken is going to get popped as soon as the Booyah and the Tri-Strike and the Killer Whale from the side of Night Sharks coming out, finding us in a 2 versus 1 situation with Billy here trying to maintain and paint the zone by themselves, but then you have Seek and Reef sliding over to the other side to try to take that zone there, but unfortunately both members of Stars of Orion that were up going down now. The zones being in a neutral game, with Stars of Orion taking it down to the 68 with the jump ins coming into this map with 1 zone apiece. Now trying to get some ink coverage on this map. It's a fight for the map at this moment, with Booyah now coming out trying to neutralize this zone and take it back into their favor once again. Stars of Orion getting really close, but now Night Sharks getting really close as well. It's a very even matchup right now with whoever is going to try to take these zones into their possession first, and it looks like Stars of Orion gets really close to it, but just not quite, because Night Sharks is going to go ahead and neutralize this zone now, taking 3 members of Stars of Orion down, with the 96 Deco being the last one alive.
What a bit of neutral we saw there. So much fighting back and forth. I had to laugh a little bit. You kind of saw that fight going on where Jimby was going back and forth, was getting picks, getting the jumps, getting on, and getting Seacant, I believe. And then on the other side of the zone, you had Onkar come in and then pick off Jimby as it kind of just, or pick off, not Jimby, there's a lot of players' names here. I'm so sorry. But you know what I mean. A lot of back and forth there. We still see a whole lot of back and forth here right now. But Stars of Orion finally able to find their footing again, get control of that zone. But as soon as I gotta say, as soon as I say that, they lose it, but then they gain it back again. But 2 up on the side of Stars of Orion. One of the zones neutralized, stopping their penalty timer from kicking down. Secant there taking a fight, but going down to Toast, as Toast is now hoping to gain control once again of this zone for Night Sharks. You saw that tri-strike coming out, not quite enough, but they finally find it. Toast going in, trying to find Seacant, gets picked. And now it's kind of just a 2-down situation on both sides. Night Sharks is in control of this zone, so they're going to start getting that penalty timer knocked off as they're waiting for both teams to respawn. But Night Sharks is holding this zone strong right this moment.
Yeah, and I think right here, leading in with the Kraken, already displacing the members. Nifty trying to force their way out of the zone, but Toast is going to go ahead and come back in and feel okay to come back in, taking Saroa out right away. That penalty is now gone, so we are almost down to the 30-second mark. So that last disc effort is now going to be coming into play here for both sides. Into this game right now. You have the Gal now on the response right now, the Tri-Strike coming out for Night Sharks here, trying to clear that street area, not allowing Stars of Orion any space to try to come back in from that street area, and the Tri-Strike there trying to maybe save that right zone for Stars of Orion, but unfortunately just not getting the ink output that they were looking for. I think there, Stars of Orion had such a strong start here, but then Night Sharks was just able to lock them out and hold them back really successfully here, taking us now to match point.
Yes, and we're going to see kind of the same situation going on that we saw this first set, where we have one team that is up 3-0 going in. And now if you're Night Sharks, you've got to be, or sorry, if you're Stars of Orion, you got to be calm and collected. Right here we see this going on. Toast taking beautiful control of both of these zones at this moment as Stars of Orion is trying to find a way back in, but Billy time and time again up there ready to answer, taking one down, leaving just Ankar there trying to fight for the zone. But you've already got Toast once again up here in the bunker of Stars of Orion, throwing out these trip strikes into the street, stalling them for even longer as this timer is just ticking down. Secant goes down in that streak as more strikes come out, and it's just not going to be enough to clear the way or neutralize this zone before Night Sharks is able to take the win there.
Yeah, and I gotta hand it to Stars of Orion there. They had such a strong start in the beginning. That map was so yellow for a majority of that game, and Jinbei and Secant were just playing off of each other so well. They were able to move and slide around with each other, and especially when with Billy coming back into that map, there was a play there where it was a 2 versus 1 situation, and Billy was able to utilize as much space as possible, and Secant coming in with the Reef slider to try to displace them and take the zone at the same time. But Billy was able to successfully stay alive when that was going on. But on this looking, we're going back into the looking now, and we're having the same kind of result happening over on the CCA channel right now with Banana Split, putting us in a 3-0, going into game 4. And we're still seeing a similar comp here happen on both sides. You still have the double E leader coming out. You do have the 96 Scout Deco with that Kraken there, and you still have CD on the carbon roller too, which you just love to see. You love to see consistency, but sometimes the consistency with something that's unconventional is also just really fun.
Yeah, I definitely agree there, but we're going to be going back into our game here now on tower control under Toast Spillway, seeing what Stars of Orion can bring out to try to stop this 4-0 sweep from coming out. We see that they're going to be going back in here. They've got kind of the same comp coming out. They've got the Tetras and the Wiper, as well as the 96, maybe able to kind of stall out for a little bit. We see a Kraken on both sides, but one of the beautiful things there is that he can do is just kind of get on tower, hop, stall just a little bit longer, and tower can come down just to a matter of few points. And right now, though, we see here that there's going to be an early advantage going to the side of Night Sharks as they're going, or I say that, sorry, Stars of Orion as they're going to make this first pick. I thought that Billy there in the base was going to lead to something, but they didn't quite take control of the tower. So now with 2 down on the Stars of Orion, it looks like this is going to be Night Sharks push that they gotta get on that tower. I keep saying it. I'm like, look, you're ahead. You've got members down. You've got to push this tower now. Finally, Army getting on the tower there, and it looks like they're gonna break that first checkpoint relatively uncontested.
Yeah, I was feeling pretty bean boozled there by Billy as well. I thought Billy was going to try to get back up on that tower and get it moving there, but we now got some points on the board for Night Sharks, taking that first checkpoint and getting it down to the 76. But right now we have Kraken coming out on the side of Stars of Orion, and you have Secant and Jinbei once again moving together, trying to provide themselves some space and trying to maybe move the members of Night Sharks into a 2 versus 1 situation. But the mobility that Night Sharks has had throughout this evening has been quite incredible, and especially with the positioning and the speed that Stars of Orion has in their favor, they are not letting themselves be deterred by that. And Billy there getting an excellent pick, but unfortunately going down, almost having it be a trade. Secant getting a pick on Nifty there, and almost getting a pick on Toast as well, but Toast is able to win the fight there and take out the jump-in that was coming in from the side of Stars of Orion right now. A neutral game right now, Toma. We're 2 minutes now into this game, and it's still pretty neutral, but now with Night Sharks on the tower trying to tick down a few more points on our way to this second checkpoint here, you can see that Stars of Orion are trying to come around from this right elbow area here, throwing some ink down, but also trying to get the members of Night Sharks off the tower right now. And as soon as the members of Stars of Orion touch that tower, there is a special coming their way. There's the Kraken right there. Earlier it was the Tri-Strike coming out. Now the jump-in coming from Night Sharks taking on that tower and getting too focused on the jump-in and now getting taken out. Secant now going out by our meal, and 2 members of Night Sharks still holding that tower into this left area. Kind of what we saw with that last game there. with the tower being held into this area over here and not allowing it to leave.
Yeah, and this is where it can get really snowbally. You've got just the Tetras up now on Stars of Orion as it's trying to find a pick here onto the tower, but now you've got the Kraken out here, and it's going to be able to stall some time as they're trying to be able to break that third checkpoint, but they are forced to back up. A great defense there from Stars of Orion, but with the tower pushed all the way to 15, they have quite the path ahead of them. The tower is still kind of over here on this corner. You got a great pick there from the 96 gal onto Statora and onto Jimby as they're trying to see if they can find one more. Synkit goes down on the other side of the map. Army now set up here with these tri-strikes to be able to try to clear this space, but Stars of Orion is going to respond with a tri-strike of their own. Toast and Army trying to survive for as long as they can to see if they can finally break the third checkpoint. This time, Toast getting back onto this tower, trying to find the picks with the Kraken, but forced to retreat as it's going to go down. Having the fight here with Secant. Secant is going to come out on top. On that one, they're going to back up. So they know one more is over here. They're going to Reef slide over there, miss it as they go around the corner, not quite finding the connection. And now they're going to finally be able to pick off Billy there as this tower is going to finally start going back towards mid.
Yeah, once again, Jinbei and Secant were really working together there. They were able to corner Billy with not only with the torpedo kind of calling them out, but then you had Secant being able to roll in and get the pick successfully there. But Army on this tower, once again, feeling pretty comfortable on this tower right now. Just Night Sharks, just unrelenting pressure. You have Toast up in their base area, getting 2 picks there with the Kraken and the Tri-Strike coming out on each side to kind of maintain them in that center area there. Tri-Strike coming out from Stars of Orion, but getting taken out before the third one can actually make its way onto the map here. That tower, once again, almost making its way to the 15 point now. We have 7 seconds left in the game with the tower in possession of Night Sharks, and one of the members of Stars of Orion just need to take this tower into their own possession and hold onto it as best as they can. And the Kraken here from Sorora is going to do just that. They're going to be able to sit on that tower, get the pick off down below there before Toast can make their way onto the tower. You have 3 members of Stars of Orion holding onto this tower as best they can and getting pushed off, unfortunately, but it almost looked like it looked like the T-Tech was still on the tower as Jinbei was able to get onto the tower as well, but the game says what the game says, so Night Sharks is going to take the set here 4-0.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes funky things can happen. They may have been on the side. They may have jumped up into the air. Who knows? Your feet got to be planted on that tower. Maybe we'll be able to tell a little bit what happens as we go into this replay. You see Billy here doing a great job just trying to shark, trying to stop them from getting control of that tower, but just doesn't quite find enough bullets to connect. They are able to pick one down. Statora takes advantage of that, is in that Kraken, gets Toast just as they're about to go up onto the tower, saving that there. Billy back there gonna go down right here as you see. And now this tower in a very dangerous position as it's in neutral. You see right here 3 of them, and it looks like that's what happened. The T-Tech was jumping up in the air right off the side, and that's Latana Stamper was able to just slide in and just get the victory because everybody evicted themselves from the tower.
Just a frame difference. Just them jumping up and the Stamper getting up there took it into their possession. Sometimes, Toma, it's just a simple frame that it comes down to. Not even like a miscalculation at that point, because, I mean, they were on the tower still. And rightfully so. They were still there. They were still ready to fight and ready to fight the Stamper that was coming up to try to 1v1 with them. And it just, unfortunately, the jump was just not correctly timed. and the Stamper was able to be successful for Night Sharks and take that 4th game, swipe it away from them. So, I mean, well played by both sides. Like, Stars of Orion put up such a good fight here. For themselves.
Yeah, that was definitely a great fight there. And, like you said, it just comes down to a frame. Sometimes it was just a fraction of a second. And they were 3 up there on that tower. They were in such a solid position to be able to continue that push, being able to create that forward pressure that we saw as they were able to take out Billy, able to take out other members of Stars of Orion. But it just kind of unfortunately fell apart.
Yeah, Night Sharks did a really excellent job here to maintain the space of the platform or the ramp of Stars of Orion. They got to this position twice, getting the Rainmaker this close to the checkpoint here. They were able to get it down to the 1 mark. Army trying to crawl up here, but then getting taken out right before the dunk was going to happen. And Stars of Orion playing excellent defense here, and down to the very bitter end, I want to say. Sorora almost getting a really good pick there off of Toast on the snipe, but Toast was able to pop Kraken pretty successfully and quickly there, and to come in and get a pick and clear that space there for Night Sharks in order for Nifty to get this checkpoint dunk.
All right, and now that I'm not muted on chat, what I was mentioning before was it was such a fantastic push by Night Sharks, and that's what I kind of led Saf to saying here. Now we move on to game 2. Again, you're down by so many points at this point in the game where there's about, a minute left or so. It's going to be really hard because you have to make a wonderful push, a big push at that, right, Toma?
Yes, you absolutely need to, but you can see here, Night Sharks wasn't going to let that happen. That game kind of just showed their raw power as they were able to just kind of be up in the base of Stars of Orion the entire match.
Yeah, and here, Saf is a situation where Stars of Orion was 3 down. They were able to take the zone a little bit, but unfortunately weren't able to hold on. Night Sharks just doing a really good job on their lockout phase.
The tri-strike there, I think, was super crucial coming out from Toast, because the members of Stars of Orion, a lot of them were trying to congregate on that street area, and Toast was just not letting it happen.
And then moving on to game 4, this is kind of what ended it, Toma. Just kind of the dominance here by Night Shark. And we see here at the end, we have the Kraken on the tower. They actually, I don't think they get the wipeout. I don't know if they do for sure, but you have so many players around the tower. And then here we're going to see the Stamper just find a way to get on when everybody else just hops off.
Yeah, they sure do just kind of hop off there. And, kind of unfortunate, you saw that they had the picks behind them. They were moving forward together as a unit. There was only that Stamper up. The 3 of them on tower could have been able to take care of that Stamper really successfully and could have been ready for the respawning members of Stars of Orion. But sometimes those frames just land wrong for you, and that just cost them the game.
Well, hey, we see here that Night Sharks winning 4 over Stars of Orion, but take a look at this. We're going to do a live looking on the CCA set, and UCSD Esports were able to get a win. So this is their game 5 right now with just about 40 seconds left. We'll see the end of this game as UCSD Esports actually has the lead at 73-93. A very, very condensed, slow Rainmaker game. And but here's going to be an opportunity for Banana Split. If they get this dunk, they're going to get the lead. Look at that, Toma.
Yeah, great coordination there. Just waiting for the right time. You saw 2 down on the side of UCSD Esports, and they're able to find the checkpoint break here. Just 15 seconds left in this game. You've got them on the defense here now. They're able to get the pop and try to stop Banana Split, but you've got those Tetra Dualies back behind, causing a lot of havoc, but they got to remember to pick up the Rainmaker. Just 1 second left, but now those specials are coming out. You saw the stamp being thrown, and right now we're going to see that Stamper, that E-leader watching them. It's in a very tricky position at this moment, and they've got to get it across. They've got about 47 counts left on this Rainmaker advancing towards the goal. And you can see they're playing it kind of slowly right here, trying to make sure that they proceed safely, but it's just the leader up, and that leader is not going to be able to support that Rainmaker moving forward, and it looks like that's going to be Banana Split taking that set.
And Saf, what made that so hard was Banana Split just had so much map control at mid that USC Esports couldn't really do anything to get a flank or try and push in.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Toma said it perfectly. That Tetra coming in and providing so much distraction wasted a lot of time, I think, for Esports to try and pick up that Rainmaker. And it's such a smart play because the Tetras knew exactly what they were doing. They knew that if I can get up on this platform and take both of your attention away from that Rainmaker, away from objective, that you're not going to have a lot of time before my other teammates come in and try to get into control of mid. And that's exactly what happened. So,
well, Saf and Toma, it's been a pleasure having you both on for these 2 sets. Thank you both very much for our wonderful Div 1 action. Saf, where can we find you?
you can find me at Twitter right over here at twitter.com @SafiRhea, 2 P's, 2 A's on Twitter. Or if you want to follow me on Twitch, you totally can. It's or twitch.tv/SafiRhea. I'm doing the ads all over the place. Toma, where can the good people of the Twitchverse, of the Splatoon world, of the Netherworlds, wherever you're from, where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Crested Gautier on Twitter. You know, I go and I tweet about all my Splatoon experiences as both a player, TO, commentator, everything that's going on, or on twitch.tv/ttoma_. I stream on there sometimes. You know, Genshin Impact. Maybe I'll get a Splatoon or a capture card. We'll be able to stream my Splatoon ventures one day for everybody.
All right, thank you both very much. We do have one more set coming up. It is going to be a Div 2 set between, I believe it is California, I gotta pull up the document here. Yes, this is the Reef Runners from the California State Polytechnic University versus Grizzco Workers Union from Worcester Polytechnic Institute. So it's going to be a good matchup. We are going to be having 2 new comms come on for that one. We're going to be having Drumar and Raphael hopping on for the webcams. So thank you guys so much. This set will be happening in about 20 minutes or so. So do not go anywhere. You are watching our CCA Triple Header on SplatoonTourney. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our CCA Triple Header here on SplatoonTourney. My name is Falco Flyer, and I'm joined here with Drumar and Raphael for a Div 2 final between the Reef Runners versus Grizzco Worker Union. Drumar, I'll start with you. First of all, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Falco. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic. And Raphael, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to this match. I have some personal stakes here. I'm a fan of the Grizzco Union. Maybe a little biased, but I swear.
All right. Hey, that's some good stuff. We're happy that you have some knowledge about these teams. And speaking of which, Reef Runners are from the California State Polytechnic University. And Drumar, what can you tell us about their team?
So yeah, in entrance exam back in February, they went 4-1 in the group stage, and also were top 8 in the gold bracket. And these past 2 weeks, they lost 3-4 against the UH Premier, and also won 4-1 against Carne and Casada Fries.
All right, and Raphael, for the Grizzco Worker Union from Worcester Polytechnic Institute, what can you tell us about them?
So last season, they were actually the gold champions of Div 3. I don't recall them dropping a single set. It says here that they went 1-4 against Carne, but speaking from experience, comparing, who loses to who in group stage doesn't really mean anything. I'm completely confident that they can put out a strong showing tonight.
All right.
Yeah,
it's going to be a good one. So let's take a look at the maps and modes, and I will toss this one officially to both of you.
All right, so it seems like we are going to be starting on Brinewater Springs Rainmaker. Raph, what do you want to tell me about this stage?
Brinewater Rainmaker, that's actually... I know some people have their complaints about Brinewater being a really small stage, but yeah. I tend to really like it. I just think the way it forces you to... It's a square, but the way you change your camera depending on the objective line where you're pushing, it really divides up the space in a way that we don't see in a lot of other maps like Eeltail or, just the more linear layouts we have in this game. It does tend to be really snowbally though, so if the teams play their specials well once they get past that first check, we can see a really quick push to KO. Last Friday, actually, we saw, I believe it was PSU Blue, they had a game on Brinewater Rainmaker. They knocked out Wormwind in under a minute.
Yeah, I think that also happened, I don't know if that was yesterday, I believe it was Dash versus OU Crimson. One of the fellow Purdue teams over here, just kind of sucks. OU Crimson, I think, knocked them out within a minute. So this is, like you said, this is a very snowbally map if teams can coordinate their specials and all their weapon synergy well.
For sure. Let's see here. On the subject of specials, team comps, it looks like we have, I hear Grizzco is working with some funky comps right now. It sounds like a lot of their roster is missing in action. So I'm interested to see what sorts of, I believe, unusual and unorthodox weapon comps was the word they used in their shout-out tweet earlier today.
Yeah, for both these teams, I'm seeing a lot of weapons that you usually don't see in any comps. Miss L on the side of Grizzco Workers Union, their anchor and support plays Reflux, and their aggro and support Garrett also plays Octobrush. So there's a lot of non-meta weapons in both these teams' comps, which I'm very interested to see which ways they go with it.
Definitely. Reflux, that's a weapon that you don't really see too much anymore. It was really relevant during the first few weeks of the game, but after Missiles kind of fell out of relevancy, I'm excited to see what that weapon can do, honestly. And on the subject of unorthodox weapons, it says here on the side of Reef Runners, Zeshal plays Big Swig Roller.
I'm just realizing that now. That's gonna be.
And as a Slayer too.
Yeah, and it looks like we're gonna head into it, and hopefully we can see any of these weapons in action. Yeah, we see an Octobrush for Garrett as well, and we see the Big Swig on the side of Reef Runners. These comps they're half meta and they're half not.
For sure. I just really feel like that Big Swig is going to cripple Reef Runners going into Rainmaker. That thing has no object damage, and unless they buffed it recently, I don't remember. But we see Reef Runners getting... that is Reef Runner getting a pick on Grizzco. It's a trade. Never mind. The colors are confusing me here.
Yeah.
match in a neutral phase right now. They're just trading picks. It doesn't look like a lot is going on right here. What do you have to say about that, Drumar?
Yeah, each team seems to be getting pick after pick. On the side of it is Grizzco Workers Union, they do have the range in that E leader, which is very useful. And like you were talking about Big Squid, I believe it did hit his object shred damage. Like, I think it was against, I don't know if it was all objects or just Crab Tank, but it was doubled in the most recent patch, I believe. So, Big Swig is a lot more useful against like Crab Tank and a whole bunch of other weapons. But it seems like we are one down on each team right now.
Yeah, it looks like Reef Runners got past that first check relatively quickly, but Grizzco is rolling back out into mid. They're playing that Rainmaker slow, trying to get those picks on Reef Runners before advancing. They pop a hammer alone, and unfortunately it doesn't find anything. Now with the whale rolling out from Reef Runners, they're really keeping Grizzco backed up by that checkpoint.
Yeah, and those points are just dwindling, and a great snipe on the side of Grizzco Workers Union to stop that Rainmaker. Maybe they can get a bigger push out of this. They've already gotten the checkpoint at 72. Let's see what Reef Runners is able to see about that, maybe get a push off.
For sure. The time is ticking on Grizzco. Not just the match timer, but Reef Runners is building up special right here. They've been in a stalemate for nearly the first 2 minutes of the game. And that leader picks off Grizzco's Octobrush. They don't get a lot of mileage out of that stamp, unfortunately, and point goes down to Reef Runners. With a double on the side of Grizzco, it looks like Reef Runners is getting that Rainmaker right before it resets to mid. And the vac on the Rainmaker, they're getting deep into Grizzco's territory here. They're bringing it all the way to 33 before the push goes down.
Yeah, Wendell was able to just grab that Rainmaker and get as many points as he absolutely could. Getting all the way to 33 is great progress on the side of Grizzco Workers Union. We'll see if Reef Runners can maybe get their push of their own, maybe get a few picks, but there is 2 specials on the side of Grizzco Workers Union.
There are 2 specials, but those specials already go down. The Crab gets picked off on mid, the Wiper goes down, and specials rolling out on the side of Reef Runners, who just got a triple on Grizzco Union. They're getting right back into Grizzco's turf, setting up for push number 2. It looks like that 52 is about to have the special online. They're just stalling into, but he gets picked off. That's really going to cripple their momentum going in for push number 2.
Yeah, and with that triple, if the Rainmaker didn't reset there, the E-Leader would have had an easy spot of being able to just sit in mid and just completely just dominate into Reef Runner's zone. Sadly, it didn't happen. The Rainmaker was reset right in the middle. And there's a Crab Tank on the side of Reef Runner, see if they can get a pick off of it, and they cannot. But this, I believe that's the E-Leader just dancing around the Rainmaker, and it looks like Reef Runner is able to get the checkpoint here.
Yeah, that's Grizzco actually. Grizzco finally pushes past checkpoint 1. With jumps back into mid, they're gonna have to play it slow. They can't go rush at that Rainmaker just yet, like we almost saw Miss L do right there. But she backed out. She's making the right moves. They're playing around their specials, trying to get that pick on Reef Runners. Unfortunately, they're not able to find it. Someone touches Rainmaker and goes down in the process. And they're going to have to push past a Crab and a Vac. The Vac on Reef Runners actually gets picked off. But they still have that Crab, and Grizzco won't be able to push past that until they deal with it, until they get it down. We see here they go for the Rainmaker, and that Crab goes off. And the Rainmaker breaks Crab already. Grizzco, with a double on Reef Runners, they're bringing it past 30. They're getting the lead. Grizzco gets the lead. They might even get it up here. The leader goes
all the way to 6.
Very, very well played from Grizzco there. They took their time. It was looking like they weren't going to get... It was looking for a minute there that they wouldn't even get past checkpoint number 1. They were well past the first half of the game, and they hadn't even pushed past 100. But the way they came back right there and flipped the momentum on Reef Runners, really well played by Grizzco.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just realized, like, 4 minutes into the match that I and my teams messed up the entire time. So okay. That's fun. But yeah, Grizzco Workers being able to get that solid push all the way into Reef Runner spawn, and just like you said, it's a domino effect. It just completely just snowballs into Grizzco Workers Union favor.
For sure. Looking at the replay on that. Here's where we see the Crab set the splash set up for his Crab, except 2 of his teammates were actually respawning here. And it looks like between the Stringer's object damage and the Rainmaker's object damage, they shred that crab really quickly. And then Grizzco answers back with a crab of their own that picks off the 2 remaining members of Reef Runners, and that Rainmaker just runs for it. That was a really, really well coordinated play by Grizzco right there.
Yeah, and you see a lot of people complain about crab tank meta and all that. And I'm gonna say from a crab tank, from a splash main myself, I know. Bully me, do whatever you want, I don't care. Crab is a lot easier to deal with than people think. You could shred that thing very quickly if you just synergize with your teammates with it. You could take it down in a split second. It doesn't even matter. So they were able to shred that crab tank with like 1-2 shots with a tri-stringer and a Rainmaker shot, and it's gone.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sorry, there. Okay. Really well. Really, it wasn't the snowball quick less than a 1 minute game we were expecting to come out on that Brine Water Rainmaker, but it looks like we're going into Eeltail Clams for game 2. Eeltail is by nature a really stalemate heavy map, so oh gosh, it'll be interesting to see how that leader, Reef Runners plays around their E-leader player. Because it controls so much space and just deny entry to Grizzco Union.
Personally, for me, Eeltail, it was one of, out of the 5 new maps, it probably was my favorite. And then they took the ramp out in like 3 of the modes, and now it's just not as good. Yeah. But it is like a pretty like stalemate, like it is a stalemate map. But if you can get a push going, you can probably this isn't in Rainmaker, but this is in but if you get a push going, you can go pretty far with it.
For sure, because whenever you do take the enemy bridge, that's some really oppressive high ground, and it looks like Reef Runners it looks like Grizzco is actually swapping out their Tri-Stringer for a Reflux going into game number 2. It'll be interesting to see, because now they're missing that long range that you really want to have on a map like this.
Yeah, but the Reflux is running a little bit of special charge out, maybe being able to pressure them with those missiles. Missiles isn't as prominent as it was in the first few weeks of the game, but they're still deadly. Like you still use them well. It's not like they're completely unusable now. And that Viper seemed to be pushing all the way in to the Reef Runner zone and able to get 1 pick off. Maybe pop the stamp. Yep, pop the stamp. Maybe see if they can get 1 more pick in. Yep, and they get another pick in, but trade with the roller. And is Workers Union about to get a push in? Yeah, they are.
Yeah, it looks like Grizzco Union, they get in that first power clam, and they had Reef Runners staggered for a while. It looks like they were so close to getting so much more mileage out of that push, but unfortunately they didn't play their cards right on lockout, and Reef Runners slowly rolled back out into mid.
Yeah,
Grizzco's probably not getting as much mileage out of that first push as they would have wanted.
Yeah, it was a good start, but they weren't able to get that many points. They only get down to 68 with 16 points penalty, and that was a great snipe by the Charger there. And that's a double on the side of Workers Union. And that's another. Can I get another? Doesn't look like him.
It looks like they don't force the interaction against that last remaining member on Reef Runners. They're keeping their space, trying not to rush in and feed. Good call on them, as that crab tank coming out of Reef Runners quickly puts an end to their push forward. But with jumps back into mid, it looks like Grizzco is still in position to take more space onto Reef Runners.
Yeah, and Grizzco also has the majority of the clan economy, going like 20-8 with clans. They have two footballs on the field. 3 footballs, I believe, on the field. One of them is not being grabbed right now. But
economy. Who cares about economy whenever Reef Runners has the specials in their advantage right now? They're chaining their specials 1 by 1, and that is right under Grizzco's basket. It allows them to get 1 clam, and if they play their cards right, they might even be able to dunk that second one, taking lead off of Grizzco right in their first push. And yes, that's 3 on Grizzco. 3 on Grizzco respawning. It looks like Reef Runners is getting set up, and they don't intend on leaving anytime soon, bringing that counter all the way down to 51.
Yeah, they were just trying to get that point trying to get those points down as far as I can, but it looks like the push is over as 3 go down. All of them respawning down. They get 24 points of penalty. Let's just see how everything lines up now.
For sure. The special economy is on the side of Grizzco Union now, although they have one player respawning, so they're going to have to wait until he gets back into the action to do anything about it. They're Octobrush, I believe that was, going in for a deep flank and getting... Okay, wow. Several players going down on the side of both teams here. Grizzco Union is left with nothing but their Zap player trying to hold that ground down as hard as he can. And Reef Runners isn't putting a lot of pressure on him, curiously enough. It looks like they're getting set back up in their own positions.
Yeah, did you see what happened there? It just looked like 3 of them were just randomly down. And it looks like Reef Runner is able to get another jump in and just lower that penalty maybe a little bit. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to make a push out of it, but being able to lower that penalty as much as they can.
Yeah, it looks like they were trying to sneak some power clams in off of that Kraken, but it really didn't work out for them. With clams, even if it does lower the penalty, you want those long sustained pushes, which it looks like Grizzco is gearing up for perfectly right now. Going at that 96 from 2 different angles, catching him off guard, they force that fight and win it, and it looks like they take the lead off of Reef Runners once again. Reflux going in, just tack some extra points down on the counter, getting picked off for it, unfortunately. Even that Wiper probably shouldn't have taken that interaction. He gets picked off for kind of going in alone. Grizzco Union is going to have to play their defense right here in the last minute of the game if they want to secure their lead against Reef Runners.
Yeah, but that was an amazing push by Grizzco Workers Union. One pushing on the side, one pushing up on the bridge, able to push back the members of Reef Runners and just get 2 footballs right in the basket immediately to take them to the lead. Looks like a curling bomb is going out on the side of Reef Runners and a Kraken. That's pretty much a... Oh, and it seems like 3 go down on the side of Reef Runners. It's only their splash all the way back there. So that push seems to just be completely dead in the water.
Yeah, a little trigger happy on that last push right there. They lose their last power clam, and with 8 seconds left on the clock, it doesn't look like Reef Runners is going to be able to come back from that. So game 2 going to Grizzco Workers Union once again. Really good play out of both teams here. Yeah, wow. What do you have to say about that, Dreamar?
Yeah, Grizzco Workers Union, after that last push, just able to set up a firm defense in their zone, able to just completely pick off the members of Reef Runners. And getting them 3 down was pretty much just saying, game over, we're taking game 2. You can't do anything about it.
Pretty much. Whenever, I feel like if Reef Runners was a little more patient on that last push, we see that they ran in, they wanted to set up their bubble so that they could really draw out the momentum, but they don't check their flanks when going in. All of Grizzco that was currently active, they were just sitting there waiting for them to make that impatient play to try and go in before they really could. Really good punish, recognizing that all they had to do was sit and wait effectively.
Yeah, and it looked like earlier when the roller popped the curling bomb. Seemed like they went with it a little bit too late. It looks like they hesitated, and by that point the Kraken was already dead. So It just pretty much just said, you waited too long, and there goes your push. It looks like we're going to game 3, which is Splat Zones on Manta Maria. Raph, what can you say about this?
I personally really do like Manta Zones. It was a personal favorite of mine back in 2. Although I'm impartial to any double zones map. I also just I like the way that bunker is such an important position on this stage. I feel like so much of it revolves around, okay, do they have a secure hold on their bunker? And the different flanks that go around it, that's something that I feel like is really healthy for the state of the game right now. As a Wiper player, I know that my opening play is usually to just rush onto that flank across cut and try to tussle up their backlines, get them out of the picture. And we've seen a Wiper out of Grizzco every game so far, so it'll be nice to see if they go for a strat like that or not.
Yeah, I never really had an issue with Manta Maria in 2. I was pretty indifferent to it because I never really played competitively. So maps just blended in together. I didn't know what was a good map, what was a bad map. So I'm really interested to see how this map goes. Not really a huge fan of double zone maps like Flounder and Undertow, but we'll see how this goes.
Definitely. Yeah, double zones maps, there are a lot of different opinions on that. For me, I like how, because what I find about Splat Zones is that it can tend to be so much more drawn out than the other maps, than the other modes sometimes. I guess, maybe that's not the right word. It stagnates. It stays in one area of the map a lot because there's only one area that needs to be controlled. But when you split that area into two, and it's like there are 2 stages to the team fight before you can start really pushing objective, I feel like it creates a little more dynamic play. And we see an Explo coming out of the side of Reef Runners. They're actually running double anchor between their Explo and E-Leader.
Yeah, that's a really
interesting comp. You don't see too much of that these days.
Yeah, totally. You never really see that these days. And Grizzco's Workers Union decided to, like, oh, you're gonna run 2 backlines? We're just gonna run none. So they have a custom junior with a wave breaker. It's great for zones. Oh my god, is that a curling bomb just killed a crab tank? Yeah. Curling bomb just hits a crab tank dead on and just murders the splash on the side of Reef Runners. You don't see that often.
No, you don't. Miss L must know her curling bomb angles, banking that thing off the walls or whatnot. Now it looks like first hold of the zone is going to go to Reef Runners here. They are pushing into Grizzco's bunker. They're getting into their street, keeping them locked out of those zones. Now, one thing I will say about Manta Maria is that once you get into your opponent's street, it is very hard for them to bounce back from that.
Oh yeah, totally.
He's going to go to drop left, try to alleviate some of the pressure so that his team can push back into bunker. But unfortunately, going in with his hammer alone, he is going in with missiles though, and he managed to get some mileage off of it. They're taking zone from Reef Runners. Reef Runners is forced to pop their crab, but with the numbers advantage, oh my gosh, never mind.
That was a
great that numbers advantage right back into their favor. Reef Runners doesn't even let Grizzco cap.
Yeah, a great crab tank on the side of Reef Runners. Just one explosive shot. Those 2 of them, and is able to get the 3rd one off a pick. I don't know who this splash player is. I think it's, I believe it is it No Man? Yeah, it is No Man. His splash is actually, like, pretty deadly, from what I'm seeing.
Definitely. He does know his way around the weapon, as we've seen. It looks like Grizzco is actually able to flip the zones back into their favor, taking control back from Reef Runners. With Booyah Bomb and Wavebreaker, they are setting up for a lockout condition of their own, but it doesn't look like they're pushing very far up. They're all on that left side of the map, correcting their positions now, but is it fast enough to really get as much mileage out of this push as they want to?
Yeah,
Still hanging really far back.
Reef Runners has already gotten 15 points with 65 penalty. So, Workers Union being able to get a push is going to be pretty difficult, especially on a 2-zone map. But it looks like Reef Runners might be able to cap this zone back. It's pretty stagnant right now. I don't know what, and Reef Runners seems to be able to get the cap and give Workers Union 41 penalty points. Words are hard, actually.
It's okay. I've been there before. Yeah, we just see a lot of fighting going down on the zone right now, but Grizzco is able to pick off Reef Runner's Explo, which is a really crucial weapon in maintaining their control on zone. The amount of pain that thing puts out is insane, but Reef Runners answers right back with a triple on Grizzco. They're rolling back into their bunker, setting up for another lockout condition. And the first time they did this, they brought that counter on the zone all the way down to 15. They have a penalty of well over 50 now, but if they're able to hold long enough, this could be the push that seals the deal in their favor.
Yeah, No Man looked like they were about to push up into the enemy hallway. They decided not to, but I know if I was doing that, I probably would have pushed up, but that's just how I am, because I probably would have died. But it looks like Reef Runners is able to get this penalty further and further down as much as they can, but Workers Union able to get a few picks and go 2 down with only the backlines remaining. See if they are able to get a cap from this, I don't know. And it looks like they do.
Yeah, really nice use of Booyah Bomb, waiting for 2 people to go down and then pushing that pressure on even harder whenever their numbers are reduced. Yeah, it looks like Grizzco is able to get good control of the zone here, but again, they don't push up very far. and they're running a really short-range comp too, so it's not like they can threaten space from very far back like their opponents can. We see the roller dropping into mid with his bubble, establishing his presence there and taking out 2 of Grizzco, but unfortunately it isn't enough.
Yeah, Worker Junior is able to keep these zones pretty well on for their side, maybe able to get this penalty even down and get the points even down. They're at 47, they have to get all the way down to 14. And there's only like 13 seconds left in this match, so see what they're able to do.
We see their specials going off, keeping Reef Runners pushed back, but they don't manage to find any picks off of it. Unfortunately, they find a double off of their Wiper goes down in the process, but with 2 really important weapons on the side of Reef Runners down. Their counter at 20, it looks like this game might go to Grizzco. There's a team.
Oh my, and they do it!
Okay, and they managed to push past lead. Being stuck behind Reef Runners so long on that game, they couldn't get that much mileage out of any of their pushes, but right in the last 10 seconds of the game, they managed to... I don't know what they managed to. Let's watch the replay when that comes up. Oh. What do you have to say about it?
Yeah, like I said, crafting was just popped right in the middle of a zone, and if you're able to capitalize on that and coordinate with your teammates, you just take it out in like a matter of a second. It does not matter. It doesn't matter if this is the best special in the game. You could take it out in a second, and that's exactly what Grizzco Workers Union was able to do, and they were able to get the lead from that.
Yeah, it looks like their Wiper managed to pick off 2 before going down. They bring it deep into overtime. We see that Crab going out on bunker.
No, man.
He tries to run past the machine.
And then the sloshing machine all the way right in the back, and it's gone in like a span of a second.
We saw that Crab, he looks like he got a little desperate. He had his eyes on the zone. He was making a last-ditch effort, so he thought he would just try and leave the machine there, but unfortunately, with his back turned, that didn't quite work out for him.
Yeah, unfortunate loss on the side of Reef Runners, but it looks like for Game 4, we are going to Undertow Tower Control.
Undertow Tower Control, that's an interesting one. I'm not that big a fan of Undertow just because I feel like the middle point, it's just that hourglass shape.
I know what you mean.
So hard to break through that middle point. You need a lot of special pressure.
100%.
For which Crab is ideal, and we've seen both teams pull that out, I think, every game so far. Unless I'm wrong, have they pulled out a Crab of their own yet? They have. In Game 1 they did. Well, let's see if they pull that back out, especially because Crab is so good at pushing tower. You just have that giant 500 HP turret on objective. What are you going to do about that?
Yeah, but I'm also going to expect I believe one of these teams popped a 96 Deco or a Kraken roller, so I'm going to expect some sort of Kraken weapon on one of these 2 teams. I don't know which team it was, but because Kraken is so dominant in tower control, you just hop on tower, pop a Kraken, you get 7 seconds worth of points. Like, the other team can't do like anything. So I'm expecting a Kraken, and if I don't see one, I'm gonna be pretty surprised.
I believe it was 96 Deco we saw on the side of Reef Runners in that first game. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think so. But it looks like we're gonna see both of these teams comp right now.
I want to see if Wendell pulls out his Splatbrella. I know Splatbrella is a joke of a weapon. Yeah, no, he doesn't pull it out right now. Probably a good idea.
We do have a Kraken roller on the side of Reef Runners, but what I'm more interested in is Grizzco Workers Union pulling out a Splattershot Nova.
For sure. I believe I've seen them pull that out in the past. Interesting choice of weapon, and that there's not a lot it can do right now, except for location, which it does really well. And they have that Tri-String on their team. Maybe their strategy is to try and keep the opponent's mark so that Tri-Stringer can hit their trick shots. We've seen Miss L is fairly competent with her choice of reflex already. So with that extra range on a map mode like Undertow Tower, let's see what she can do off of it. It looks like Grizzco is already getting past this first check.
Yeah, Miss L was able to get a great pick on their Killer Whale, and is able to get 2 down on the side of Reef Runners, and able to get all the way to 70 right now. Let's see if they can get any more points, and that's the I believe that's a Stamper going in with the Sith Caster. can't get the pick on the E-leader, sadly. And it looks like they're just gonna... Did they get it? They did not.
No, they don't manage to find the pick on the recall, no.
No.
Grizzco is really lodging themselves into that checkpoint area, though. They are leaving mid... Never mind, they're not leaving mid uncontested. It looks like their Stamper is getting themselves set up on the right side of the map, trying to limit Reef Runner's options here so that they can stall that tower longer. They're going to need to wait for their backline to come back in, but with specials building up on both teams here, it's about to be a total bloodbath.
Yeah, we see a Tri-Strike popped right in mid Workers Union. No specials on the side of Workers Union, but Reef Runners does have that Kraken as well. Reef Runners, if they're able to cop on tower and just pop that Kraken, they could get an easy checkpoint. I don't know if that's what they're going to be doing, but hopefully. But it looks like the Kraken roller goes down.
Yeah, it looks like they were trying to save that Kraken for the second checkpoint, but unfortunately, the roller goes down mid-fight.
Yeah, so we seem to be one down on the side of Grizzco Workers Union, and now we are even at 4. One special on each side, and it looks like the whale is popped on the side of Workers Union. Are they able to get a pick from it? I do not think so. But that is a Tri-Strike on the side of Reef Runners right now, and great pressure on the side of both teams. It's pretty stagnant in mid right now. Let's just see what team can be able to get a pick, and right when I say that, Kraken roller goes down. Great pick by Miss L.
Yeah, not a lot going on until just now. It looks like Grizzco gets a double on the side of Reef Runners, but they really aren't pushing up on it that much. It looks like they're all kind of clustered in mid. There's Zipcaster going in, trying to find picks, but he goes down in the process. And Miss L gets... No, that was their junior gets punished for pushing tower a little prematurely. Now with the numbers and 3 specials online on the side of Reef Runners, they might be able to get past that first check this time.
Yeah, and they just did pop a Tri-Strike, but it looks like they are 1-2 down in this situation. Workers Union does have the numbers right now, but the Reef Runners does have the specials, and there's the first Kraken of the game out for Reef Runners. Are they able to get a pick from this, do you think? It doesn't look like it. No, unfortunately not, but they do get a pick from the roller right after. And that is 2 down on Grizzco Workers Union right now. Let's see if Reef Runners can keep this momentum and maybe get to the second checkpoint.
Yeah, we've been seeing kind of a mad scramble happen in mid up until this point in the game. 2 down on the side of Grizzco. Reef Runners is getting a presence by that second check. It looks like they might finally be able to get some mileage out of this, and that's going to be lead going to Reef Runners too. 3 specials online. They're getting Grizzco staggered. This might be the momentum they need to really get the winning push here.
Yeah,
they're back on roller on the tower, gets it past that checkpoint, and then pops Kraken, but gets picked off in the process. Grizzco's gonna push right back on that, roll back out into mid. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough mileage. No, people going down left and right. That C Junior really fighting for his life out there. The Kraken gets behind him, takes him out, and Reef Runners is not letting the push die yet. 30 seconds left on the clock. Grizzco is really going to need to get them out of that position if they want to have a chance at taking this game back.
Yeah, so much is going on at the same time, but that was a great second checkpoint on the side of Reef Runners. Able to use that crab on tower to get some pressure, as well as a Tri-Strike as well. Pretty much an automatic checkpoint for them.
Definitely. 10 seconds left on the clock. Grizzco is trying to keep their hold on tower, but they probably shouldn't be riding it right now. They're pushing it deeper into mid, deeper into the threat bubble from Reef Runners, and Reef Runners just takes advantage of that. They see that the objectives being fed straight to them, and they set up and they take it. They take it for themselves, cementing their first game of the set.
Yeah, Reef Runners is not gone yet. Grizzco Workers Union is at match point, but Reef Runners said, hell no. We are getting this game. We are not over yet.
Definitely. I would like to apologize. I think I may have messed up someone's pronouns. I am so sorry. I do not know who that was. I will correct myself going forward into this. But yeah, we see here, this is right at the end of the game. Grizzco is pushing. They're pushing. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. We see that they're riding tower, trying not to let go of it at the end of the game, but they still had time left on the clock. What they probably should have done was set up to take that enemy presence out of mid before pushing tower any further. But what they do instead is they stay on the tower, a giant moving glowing marker like, here I am, come get me. And Reef Runners takes advantage of that. And kudos to them for seeing an opportunity where it's given to them.
Yeah, Worker Jr. was just riding that tower in those last few seconds. And like you said, they probably shouldn't have been riding that tower at that time, but they had no choice. Reef Runners pretty much had entire coverage of that area over there, popping tri-strikes and everything. Worker Jr. really couldn't do anything in that moment.
No, definitely not. It's a tough position to be in for sure. You don't really know what to do. You know, the timer's ticking, less than 10 seconds, it's a flashing yellow number. Your adrenaline's pumping, you're like, oh my god, what do? I have to push objective. But sometimes the smarter thing to do is really to just play the patient game. We've seen overtime pushes. We saw on the game just before, Manta Maria zones. They were at 47 with 6 seconds left on the clock, but they played it patiently and were able to win in a very long overtime push.
Yeah, and we seem to be getting into our next match already, which is Scorch Gorge on Rainmaker.
Yeah, and we see on the side of, again, Grizzco pulling out that short-range comp. I questioned it to begin with, but they've been making it work. It looks like their first pop is gonna go either way. Both teams kind of just firing at it, not putting a lot of direct pressure on each other yet. First pop going to Reef Runners though, and they get that crab set up, pushing Grizzco all the way back onto that right corner of the map there.
Again, the splash on Reef Runners playing very aggressive right now, popping the crab all the way up into the ramp in the side of Worker D zone, and it looks like they were about to push in to that ramp, but they backed off, and tri-strikes are going everywhere. Rainmaker still all the way in the middle. No one has picked it up yet. And looks like a stamp is popped, but not able to get anyone. That's 3 down on the side of Workers Union.
Yeah, and it looks like Reef Runners is really going to take advantage of that. They have that bubble on check and are able to take it pretty cleanly. They see that they have to back off now, having, being in a 4v2 situation, and they give that space to Grizzco, but all they wanted was check. Second push past that can come later into the game. There are still 3 minutes left on the clock, 4 minutes actually. With Grizzco getting a double on the side of Reef Runners now, and getting a crab right up in that lane in front of Check, they're answering right back with clearing Check for their selves.
The roller!
No, the crack-on roller comes in and denies it. 3 go down on Grizzco Union, and that push dies before they get Check.
Yeah, that's actually a vanilla roller. That is a bubble roller. So able to just get like 1 or 2 picks, and then a teammate gets another. Absolutely just completely denied Workers Union of that push.
Definitely. That was really exciting to see. I wasn't expecting it to go that way. It looks like Grizzco is giving a little more space than they need to. They leave their T-Tech kind of to die in the middle of the map there. Now they're going to be forced to go on the defensive as Reef Runners is putting the pressure on. Nice start coming out of, I cannot read that name, but they're roller. I'm sorry, resolution really low right here. They have that bubble, they're playing the Rainmaker around it. Nice double coming out of the Rainmaker, they're playing it patiently, they're keeping their distance, and it's paying off too. Catching those drops. And they might be able to push this to game. Yeah, Reef Runners takes game 5.
Wow, that was a very... I'm trying to think of words, but that was an amazing push on the side of Reef Runners. Just immediately able to get that double pick on that with that Rainmaker, and it just dominoed from there, and they're able to take the knockout so quickly.
Definitely, I really admire their the way they were holding back on that Rainmaker push. It looked like there was so much wide open space between them. You just want to rush ahead when you see that. I mean, Grizzco only had 1 teammate active, but that 1 teammate is enough to stop your push in its tracks if they play their cards right. And Reef Runners recognized that. They held back, they kept their distance, and they were waiting until they knew they could run it forward.
Yeah, and the movement by the Rainmaker was nothing short of incredible. Going off to the side to avoid that splash and then get the wipe, and then stopping, I believe, behind this wall to avoid that bomb. Just great Rainmaker movement right there, and able to get this pick right here and just take it all the way to the house right from there.
Definitely. And that was kind of like threading a needle there. We saw Grizzco had 2 on pedestal waiting for Reef Runners to come into him. Unfortunately, it didn't really work out, and they weren't able to pick off the Rainmaker as he was climbing pedestal, as it looks like they were hoping to do. So, twice in a row, Reef Runners has just denied Grizzco their match point. We might see a Game 7 out of this set.
Yeah, and if we do see a Game 7, it's gonna be very close. But it looks like Game 6 is Clan Blitz again on the new map, Umami Ruins.
Umami Ruins. I actually kind of like this map. I don't think it's as good as it could have been, but I like the way that bumper in mid divides the stage into 2. So you have like 2 separate team fights happening almost, which isn't something you see a lot of over in Splatoon with well-coordinated teams, but it's kind of forced to happen this way.
Yeah, totally. I'm not a huge fan of this map, and I haven't really played this map in Clan Blitz, actually. I think I've only played it once. I am a fan of it in Zone specifically. I know some people aren't, but I really am. And it looks like we have a splash on the side of Workers Union, as well as we have a splash on both sides, and these comps haven't been switching that much, but just a little bit each game.
Yeah, it looks like Grizzco is going with their tried and true again. I think these might have been the same exact comps we saw out in the last match.
It might have.
Special. They get a pick on Reef Runners, and it looks like they're popping their missiles to try and capitalize off that. We see their Wiper Frosta going in deep, trying to get some momentum off of that missile scrambling Reef Runners position. And they do. They manage to solidify their hold of Reef Runners Street, getting right in front of that basket.
Yeah, and I am just now noticing a weapon switch. It's not a major one. The roller is now a Kraken roller instead of a V roller. So use of Kraken and Clan Blitz is very strong. So I can see why they did that. And just avoiding that Autobahn right there is the Kraken roller on the side of Reef Runners. Trying to charge that Kraken, and I believe they are able, so close, and now they are able to. Specials are going out on both sides, both teams just popping complete specials, seeing who's going to get picks first. And it looks like there's one down on the side of Grizzco Workers, and maybe they can get another, and they do get another right when the other respawns.
Yeah, 2 respawning on Grizzco. It looks like Reef Runners is trying to roll out into mid, but they might have a Wiper behind them? No? I don't know. Where was that torpedo coming from? I guess we'll never know. It looks like the crab on Grizzco set up on mid. That's a really strong position. He finds 2 picks, managed to deny that leader. The leader actually takes him off in exchange. Never mind. We're still seeing a stalemate coming out of both of these teams here. They're trying to get the pressure away from basket, but neither really can.
Yeah, and most of the time I would say something about no teams getting enough pushes, but that is a great snipe on the side of Reef Runners. But yeah, like I was saying, I usually would say something and be like, oh, both these teams haven't really gotten a push yet, and then one of them automatically starts to get a pick, like right now. And that is a wipe on the side of Grizzco Workers Union. If there isn't any other more proof of commentator's curse, I don't know what is. Happened last time I commentated with Falco. Happened now. Commentator's curse is real, people. And Reef Runners able to push all the way down to 41, but it looks like that push is over.
Yeah, we see that again, knowing when to quit on the side of Reef Runners. They pushed it down all the way down to 41. That's half of what they need to KO. And that might be all they wanted. That's enough to really get some good mileage. We see Grizzco, they're using their specials. It looks like they're initiating with their missiles, trying to get their presence back into mid. They're chaining their chump into their missiles, and it looks like they're setting up for Crab on mid, that really oppressive position we saw them use the first time.
Yeah,
they're getting in closer, but it looks like they're going to try to sneak a clam in. Not really the best time they could have done it. They don't have a lot of clams to follow up, and there's still special pressure. We see that Crab active on the side of Reef Runners. Yeah, and they're able to stall out the push, the timer on the basket. Grizzco doesn't even push past that first power clam. With 2 minutes left on the clock, they're going to need to really coordinate their next push well so that they can get past Reef Runners' impressive 41.
Yeah, but I did see on the side, it didn't end up helping the push, but I did see an amazing stamp throw on one of these teams. I believe it was on Grizzco Workers Union. Just completely lobbed in the air and just smacked one of the members of Reef Fighters in the face. Didn't end up helping the push, but it was just cool to see. And that is a Kraken all the way up into the zone of Grizzco Workers Union, and they are Reef Runners able to keep that push going and just dwindle down those penalty points as much as they can. However, they don't have any clams.
Unfortunately, no. We saw that they tried going for that clam dunk strat they used with the Kraken and Eeltail, I believe, but it doesn't work out for them. They didn't have enough clams to follow up. They just whittled away at that penalty, but they didn't really get anything past that.
Yeah, both teams seem to be in a stalemate right now. Clan Economy also in a stalemate, no specials, one special on each side. Sorry. And then 2 are charged on the side of Grizzco Workers Union, and the missiles are popped on the side of Grizzco Workers Union. 1 down on the side of Reef Runners. And it looks like Grizzco Workers Union is starting to get a push with 2 down on Reef Runners. Are they going to be able to get in? They are not. And they're stopped by the Kraken roller on the side of Reef Runners, and that is Kraken popped.
Unfortunately for the Union, yeah, they're really staggered right here. That Kraken pushing them back, 20 seconds left on the clock. They're going to have to conserve that pity, play it really patiently like we saw them do in earlier games if they want to avoid bringing it to match point for Reef Runners too.
Yeah, both teams just set up in mid. Grizzco Workers Jr. does have those pity footballs, and if they can get a push out of it, and they can win this set. Looks like you did see missiles or something was popped, but it is now overtime.
Yeah, it looks like they popped their missiles, and with that special charge that comes with the clam, they pop 3 more. They get a clam in the basket, but unfortunately, it is just their crab alone in mid. He tries to sneak that clam in, but he doesn't find it. Even if he did, it wouldn't have been enough. Unfortunately for Grizzco, Game 3 goes to Reef Runners, and we are seeing a Game 7 here in Week 3.
This is my first time commentating a Game 7 or Game 9, so I am very excited to see this. Both of these teams have been pretty dominant this entire set. Grizzco Workers Union, the first 3 games, able to just completely dominate and go up 3-0 to get match point. I know we got Reef Runners with a reverse sweep in the last 3 games, and this is comp Splatoon, Raph.
Definitely. You know these teams are feeling the pressure right now. Probably having their fair share of tournament jitters. I know I have before. Gosh, this last game really could go either way. Like you said, we saw a dominant showing for the first 3 games out of Grizzco Workers Union. But then the Reef Runners answered right back with a 3-win streak of their own. I'm excited to see. I'm nervous almost to see what happens in this Game 7. Of course, I'll be rooting for the Union. Like I said, I'm biased, but I gotta admire Reef Runners for sticking through it. Right whenever they probably thought they were about to get 4-0 swept, they didn't give up.
Yeah, this is going to be very exciting to watch. I believe the mode is going to be, I believe it is Sturgeon on flat zones. Yeah, flat zones. So, what can you say about this map mode?
Sturgeon Zones, that's a classic. I've played that one a ton too, and I really liked it, if I'm being honest. I don't think it's a perfect map, but I do like the spinner right by mid. It's a gimmick. It's for sure a gimmick, but I just really like having the moving stage parts, the different terrains it creates at different points throughout the map, throughout the match. Definitely I feel like we're gonna have to see some long range coming out of the side of Reef Runners here. I would say I'd expect some long range on the side of Grizzco, but they've shown they like working with their short range, and Reef, that puts out a good amount of paint. Tri-Stringer can't really compare to Reflux's paint, so it's probably safe to say we'll see Miss L sticking with her tried and true Reflux again.
Yeah, and what else can you say then? Yeah, Sturgeon Zones is, in my opinion, one of the best zones maps in this game. I wouldn't say it is the best, but it's up there definitely. Pretty even on both sides. You can see, I've seen a lot of upsets on this map, so I'm really excited to see how this match goes.
Definitely, and on the aggressor side, I think it'll be interesting to see how Reef Runners plays around trying to get their ZNF set up on Grizzco Snipe, because if you get your backline there, they're going to have a clear sight onto pretty much anywhere, any path that their opponent could take trying to respawn and get back into mid. It's really oppressive. It's a really oppressive position, and definitely in favor of the aggressors. when they get their opponent into lockout.
Yeah, front lines are very. You can go very aggro on this map and it wouldn't matter, but backlines are where it really shines on this map. But looks like we are starting our game 7, and like we said, Grizzco Workers Union keeping with their full frontline comp, and we have an E-liter scope on the side of Reef Runners.
Yeah, so Reef Runners, like I thought, they're pulling out that extra range. They want the extra pressure it puts out on the zone. And Grizzco doesn't have a lot to contest it outside of their special weapons. So they're really going to have to play around that. Hopefully that Reflux is running special charge. We see those missiles coming off already, getting a double on Reef Runners. And first hold of the zone goes to Grizzco.
Yeah, that was
any signs of slowing.
Yeah, that was a great pick by the China missiles, I believe, from Miss L. Able to pick off that E-liter, just take a ton of pressure off their backs, and just able to dwindle these points down all the way further. But Reef Runners is responding with their own Kraken, able to pick 2, able to pick 3, and they easily get the zone from there. And they are coming right back with their own push.
Yeah, let's see what sorts of positions it looks like they take. It looks like they're opting to keep their splash on the zone. Now that their E-liters in, they were a little slow to get Grizzco into lockout. So Grizzco's taking that space, they have their court back, and they're using it to try and push back on zone. But that wave picks off too, and they aren't going to have the manpower to answer back to Reef Runners.
Yeah,
now they're taking advantage of that stagger, they're getting deeper into spawn. We see, I believe that was Wendell getting set up on Spinner with his E-liter, with their E-liter. Yeah, and Grizzco in a really hard stagger loop here. What do you have to say about that, Jumar?
Yeah, Reef Runners, it looks like they're, not Reef Runners, sorry, Grizzco Workers Union is staggering a lot, constantly getting picked off one by one, but we see a Wiper coming all the way in from Workers Union. Are they going to be able to cap the zone? I don't think so. And it looks like Reef Runners are going to go for a reverse sweep in the set.
That was exciting to see. Reverse sweep, I didn't think it was going to happen. Especially with the way Grizzco, on their opening push, they had a really strong hold of zone. They pushed it down to 60. It didn't look like they were slowing anytime soon, but Reef Runners found their way back in, and once they took that zone, they didn't let go.
Yeah, totally. Like I said in the last few seconds, Grizzco Workers Union, it looked like for the last minute and a half, they were constantly 1, 2, sometimes even 3 down on their side. They were completely staggering. You see one go down onto the left, and then Miss L with the reflex going down. They are 2 down now. And then the custom junior goes down, 1 more respawns. Sloshing machine drops in, and then they probably get picked off not that long after. Right there. They are constantly just staggering, trying to get a push in. But the Wiper on the side of Grizzco Workers Union, I believe that's Point, trying their best to get a push going, but they cannot do it. And Reef Runners takes a reverse sweep in CCA Week 3.
Really dominant, really good play coming out of both teams here. That was the first Game 7 I've seen this season myself. Yeah, wow. I was not expecting the reverse sweep coming out of Reefers, but they've shown that they're more than capable of it. Really, kudos to them. Kudos to them for keeping their heads on straight.
Yeah, Raphael, like you said, I don't think I have seen it in CCA before. We did see it on SplatoonTourney Ludi tonight during a Div 8 matchup. I know DRF is here. He could probably tell me if there has been a reverse sweep that has happened on Ludi before. But that was really, really impressive by the Reef Runners. Let's actually take a look at all the highlights that happened during this set, starting with this Game 1 here. If you guys remember, we played Rainmaker at Brandwater Springs. I don't know about you, but I kind of forgot about this because it was so long ago. It was almost an hour ago with when this match happened, and I apologize here, the colors were swapped during this first game, but we can see at this moment Reef Runners do have the lead, but Grizzco Reef Runners going to be picking it up to accelerate their push, but going to be stopped. And this is later on in the game, Drumar, when we saw that Grizzco Workers Unions did a really good job on just finishing this push.
Yeah, like I said, I believe this was where they got that crab set up. They were chaining their specials too. Really nice shred on Reef Runner's crab, and they're able to deny them that space that they needed to pick off the Rainmaker. And once they see that the coast is clear, they just rush that thing in. Leader doesn't get the pick, and yeah.
It was really, really impressive. And then we went to Claim Blitz, which is more of a stalemate match. And we're going to see here, we actually have a lot of clips from this match, but there is some amazing Kraken work here on the side of, I believe that is on the side of Reef Runners when they are going to be able to use it with their 96 deco. So Drumar, just walk us through this one. How dominant is Kraken on Claim Blitz? We all know the answer.
Better than Crab, I'd say. Kraken is probably the best special, I'd say, on Clan Blitz and on tower control, just for how dominant it is. You could just get super jump, you can just get jumps all the way right under the basket, and if you pop it on a tower, it's easy points, straight up.
And Raphael, here we see Grizzco Workers Unions. They're getting a really nice double, just kind of setting the tone for this game. This is the wiper play that we saw with how dominant they were, setting up for another push. They unfortunately couldn't find a way to break into the basket, though, so it's going to be really tricky. And here's where Reef Runners are using that crab to jump in, and this was an impressive push. How about that, Raphael?
Definitely. We see that Kraken clam dunk strat. They've been using that all throughout the set. Unfortunately, it does work out for them here, and they managed to find the lead, but it wasn't quite as clean as they could have wanted. They managed to make up for it with that bubble, though. Really nice save on the side of their roller, and they do push into 51 territory.
Yeah, and this is about 1:20 left remaining. We see it's a very close game at this point, but look at that, 3 power claims ready for Grizzco Worker Union and a player advantage. This is where some of the specials were to come out, using that curling bomb to push forward. We're going to see 1 power claim, 2 power claims go in. That is what's going to give them the lead, and ultimately what kind of set them up for this win on Game 2. We saw how dominant Grizzco Worker Unions were for that game, and this is where Reef Runners were going to try and respond to get a push of their own, using the Kraken, using the bubble. Unfortunately, just with how dominant Grizzco Workers Union defense was and how consolidated they were by the basket, it wasn't really going to work out for Reef Runners, Drumar.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it looked like the after the roller popped the curling bomb, it looked like they hesitated a bit. They squid rolled back as if they weren't going to push in, and that probably ultimately led to them not being able to get the push.
Yeah, and then we went on to this Manta Maria game where Reef Runners had a very dominant start, getting all the way down to 50 and below. But we know the outcome of this game, and based on what had happened already in this set, we wouldn't have expected Reef Runners to do a really good job, especially getting a few picks, still holding onto the zone in what we thought could be a wipeout, but no, Grizzco Worker Unions were able to take control, and really in this last 5 seconds into overtime, they were a very dominant, Raphael.
For sure. I thought this game was going to go to Reef Runners. I mean, 6 seconds left on the clock. Grizzco pushing past 47, pushing all the way past 15. Like, who would have expected that to happen? But they managed, they played their cards right. They used their specials really well to keep Reef Runners off of that zone. And we see that it's so hard to break past that they managed to take the lead. And going on to Undertow Tower here, this was a really stalemate-heavy game. A lot of back and forth between both teams, but neither of them were able to get a very strong push up until the end.
Yeah, Drumar, it took them till, about a minute in for either team to really approach this second checkpoint. But then we see this is where Reef Runners really did a good job. It doesn't matter when, or it doesn't matter how it happens, as long as the time is right, it is going to be very dominant.
Yeah, totally. Reef Runners was able to get that easy checkpoint with, I believe it was a crab and a tri-strike. Pretty much just confirmed their second checkpoint, able to push it all the way even further, all the way to 28. In these last few seconds, we see Grizzco Workers Union trying to get on the tower in those last few seconds, but it looks like Reef Runners has the entire thing covered, and they're not able to capitalize on it.
Yeah, and so that was Reef Runners' first win of the set, and which kind of set the tone for the rest of this. And here we see they're going to be making a pretty impressive push here, as we do start off with, go to Rainmaker on Scorch Gorge. And they're going to be quickly getting to this checkpoint. Look at the use of specials, use of bubbles to really protect their entire team. I'll say protect the Rainmaker carrier from the missiles. The rest of their team went down. So a very quick checkpoint to 68. But we did see that Grizzco Worker Union, they actually had a counter push of their own, Raphael.
Yeah, I was expecting Reef Runners, they were backing off, not trying to force that push past check. I was expecting them to set up a good defense, but Grizzco was able to push it right all the way, almost past check in answer to it. Reef Runner's roller, though, shout out to him. He was waiting, he was playing patiently, he was sharking, and he managed to pick them off. Grizzco doesn't get the check.
No, and this is, I mean, there were, again, a lot of good moments from this match in particular. Again, use of the timing of the bubble against these missiles, I don't think is something we'd seen before. A very nice double here from the Rainmaker carrier, and this is where they just pushed up. This is where the dunk is going to happen too, and I'll say, Drumar, it's really hard on defense in this position when you have all of the offense pushed up.
Yeah, totally, especially after you go 2 down with 1 Rainmaker shot. Trying to be able to get the get defense back is very difficult. And going back to Umami Ruins on Clamblitz, we see Reef Runners getting an easy pick after I said that no one got any momentum, because commentators curse, of course. But yeah, Reef Runners able to go all the way down to 41 with this push.
And Raphael, that's so important in Clam Blitz too, because you need these dominant pushes to really take control of the game. That's just going to make the other team have to work that much harder if they want to make a push of their own.
Right. You can keep whittling away at the scoreboard, but that's not going to do a lot, especially because if your opponents make one big clean push after you've been just chipping away slowly over the entire game, like, you know, if you get only 30 points off of 4 power clams and there's only 1 minute left on the clock, but your opponent's pushed to 20, what are you going to do?
Exactly. It's going to be very tricky. And Drumar, here is where we saw overtime. Again, you need a good push. You can score here and actually get to 50 with this push, which will set you up pretty well. And we see here they do try and score, but when you have 3 players go down, just have 1 player left, all eyes are going to go on that 1 player.
Yeah, Miss L was able to get a great push with that curling bomb to get that basket open, but it wasn't enough, and 3 of them go down.
And then we moved on to the final game with the reverse sweep in the making, with Reef Runners getting that 3-0 in the later half of the game. Grizzco Worker Union got down to 60, but Reef Runners doing a really good job holding on to this zone, Raphael.
Definitely. I was thinking that we would see that game go to Grizzco, but Reef Runners, once they got their presence in the zone, they did not let go. They chained their specials, they were watching those flanks, they were denying Grizzco at every opportunity they got. We see here they were giving those missiles some space, and took it right back after getting the pick on Miss L too. And they get that crab set up on Grizzco's snipe too. That really was probably the nail in the coffin for Grizzco that game.
Yeah, this really sealed the deal, like you said, with the Reef Runners. You gotta feel good when you're in that situation. It's hard when you are going down 3-0 and then you are able to come back. But Reef Runners, they managed to do it. It was really impressive to watch. So thank you all very much for watching our CCA Triple Header broadcast here on SplatoonTourney. Thank you, Drumar and Raphael, for being here. And thank you to the CCA for letting us cast some of these matches. To sign off, Drumar, where can we find you?
You could find me over on Twitter at Drumar_SPL. It should be right down in the bottom corner. Raph, where can they find you?
If for some ungodly reason you want to find me on the internet, you can find me on Twitter at LRafi.
All right, thank you both very much. That is going to be it for tonight. We hope you have a fantastic evening, and we will see you next time for our broadcast. Take care.